Okay, all right, okay. Here we are with the 5D Chess World Championship 2023, Day 2. This, if you haven't already seen the first 4 matches, I highly recommend you go check them out. They were tumultuous to say the least. Right now, we see on our scorecard that Ryan is leading 3-1. Dreamer was off to a great start with the white pieces and is again going to start with the white pieces. Ryan, of course, catching up after round 1. Dreamer, you're starting with the white pieces. How do you feel right now?
I'm feeling great and determined.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be fighting like a soldier who doesn't fear to die.
Wow, that is the most intense emotion I think I've ever heard out of Dreamer. Ryan, what do you think? You must be feeling good after last week, but do Dreamer's words inspire fear?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, but I'm not scared. But I'm not gonna, get overconfident. Still gotta be very careful.
Right. The question is, are you afraid to die?
Well, not playing chess, I suppose. So
excellent. So it sounds like you guys are on an even playing field. I'll let you guys deafen, mute, whatever it is, and I'll introduce our co-hosts. So until after the games, I'm gonna say good luck to both of you. We'll get the show underway. And I'll introduce my co-hosts. Joining me again from last week are, first of all, Andre. Say hello, Andre.
Hello.
And also joining us in place of Los is Lexi. Say hello, Lexi.
Yeah, you would like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so Lexi, you were watching from the sidelines, relegated to a spectatorship. Now you're on the mic. Can you tell me how this experience feels different than just being a menace in my chat?
I mean, don't count it out yet. Like, it's it's not gonna stop the trash talking just because I'm live on the mic right now.
Okay. I thought you meant that you were gonna walk out and just sit back and chat for a little while.
Exactly. I'm just gonna be dead silent every time. No. I'm honestly, I'm just gonna commentate whenever it's like there's like nothing going on, and whenever it's like really complicated, I'm gonna ask you like specific questions about what the eval is.
Okay, as if we've got a much better idea. I mean, Lexi, okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, who's joining us, who doesn't have any preamble, first of all, let's go ahead and introduce the fact that our competitors they've been vying for the position of sort of best 5D chess player since the previous World Championship. They haven't played each other a ton. I think that Ryan has been leading in ELO for most of the time. But last year, Dreamer is the one who bested him in the World Championship match, and so he is our defending world champion. So there's history there. Lexi is less active than he used to be, but is a celebrated 5D chess player himself, who in the first was the Ryan/Dreamer of the early days of 5D chess. At the top of the scoreboard before we actually had any World Championship matches. And of course, Andre's no slouch. He's just taking games off of everyone I've mentioned so far, who's also like an incredibly highly rated player. And then I'm also here. So that's the cast right now that you're
I'm gonna do an introduction for you guys as well. Like, you guys have been in the if you don't know Semet for some reason, despite you watching the stream.
Yeah, why are you watching this?
He's been the cornerstone of the 5D community. He would have been one of the earliest streamers of the game if a hurricane hadn't hit his house. It's a true story, by the way. And of course, Andre, known for the Andre special. And yeah, that's our cast for today.
The Andre special has meant so many things to me over time. But what does the Andre special mean to Andre? That's what I want to know.
Oh, it's special. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I see. The Andre special is Andre.
There's some points in like special, like you know an Andre special when you see one. Like,
yeah.
Maybe we get lucky and we see some today. I mean, we've got Dreamer who's unafraid to die. Then we have Ryan who's also like, he's been willing to die but doing what he loves, which is apparently not playing chess. So I think we're in for a treat today.
Lexi, you play even less 5D chess than you used to. What was your impression of like what you saw in terms of how the game had changed since you had played it, you know, a bunch like back in your day?
I mean, we're talking about like a very small sample size of game here, right? It was only like 4 games. But I think what still seems to be like a common theme is that like Black has to go like ultra defensively, and I think the main difference that we saw in the opening style was that Ryan as Black was very happy to go for an endgame early. I think we went for queens. He would have offered the queen trade like very early both times, which seems like a thing to do. But yeah, we're into the game already.
Oh, so far I think we're repeating game 1.
Yeah, well, this is also
And it's-
repeating game 3, right? So
There we have
games,
it.
all of
Immediately queens off.
Dreamer's white games,
Oh, and
he's
Ryan
opened
is-
exactly the same
Ryan-
way.
Ryan has watched the stream.
Oh,
because
right, we talked about this with Lewis. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, maybe he came up on it on his own. But
Okay, yeah, no. So we've got the knight a6, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because
and this does not defend before.
exactly. Yeah, it doesn't defend b4 because if knight b4 pawn takes, then you lose your rook. Your bishop is pinned. It's just not good. But Ryan doesn't seem to have elected to go for it regardless. I wonder why. Like knight b4 there, and then what happens? Are you afraid that you're gonna get like pushed in on yourself? Like knight e5 or something, looking at f7, but that doesn't look scary at all. So I actually don't know why knight b4 didn't happen there. It would have ended the game too soon, says Mauer.
I mean, it's a good question. I'm just looking at it. Why you wouldn't go knight b4 here? I guess like you could technically play knight d4, covering it. I don't think you want to go king d1. Just moving your king early. I don't think you want to capture either. Allowing this to come off. So yeah, I'm a little bit curious as well because a3 is kind of a nothing move in that position, and I'm a little bit curious as well why knight b4 wasn't played here either.
Especially considering he rattled it off, right? Like he looked so ready for it.
I guess he's kind of preparing it because if he goes knight b4 now, like he's still threatening it, it's kind of difficult to cover.
Yeah.
If you go knight b4 now, you're actually also threatening knight takes d3.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about
line.
to say. Yeah.
Because you open up the bishop. So maybe this is sort of a situation where there's no real rush. But yeah, a little bit.
Maybe Dreamer can play like rook d1 or something. With it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Bishop out. Rook d1.
But that looks set already.
Weird. It already looks. It just looks not very comfortable. I'm surprised that Dreamer elected to play this for his 3rd white game in a row. Like you could maybe say, because as soon as he played it in game 1, Los had insisted that it was something that he had looked at a bunch and that he had seen played, but that was better for Black, almost inarguably.
I guess the idea could be after knight b4 you can go knight d4, and then if you play c5 you can move the rook and you're hitting the knight.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, maybe.
I think it has to be something like that to kind of defend it, and maybe he's analyzed and looked at it before. But yeah, I'm a little bit curious as well because this doesn't seem like a preferred choice for opening, because it already looks like White's a little bit under pressure here. His bishop's boxed in. He has some weak squares.
All right, yeah. What do you ever do with this light square bishop? Although we did see more than a few like kingside, King's Indian type structures in the last 4 games. So
yeah, I mean, if you go for structure, you basically have to fear and calculate at this point. It just feels a little bit unnatural to like completely devoid yourself of having the option early. But then again, if knight takes d3 is not on the menu, and you can maybe get in b4 at some point, you can maybe claim some space advantage. But it looks a little bit sketchy already.
yeah, I agree. Although I guess the nice part of trading off the queen so early is that you get this sort of, assuming that Black doesn't sort of traipse in like getting a knight on b4 or whatever, is you gain a lot of space as white, and you don't have to worry about sort of covering like the diagonal off of the king because there are no queens on the board or whatever. So I guess it feels nice if you can get out of the early game without any shenanigans.
Oh,
Hmm.
some knight maneuvering.
But okay, so I guess it's not a big deal. I have no idea what to make of this.
Yeah, maybe it's, at some point he just looking to put it on d4 or something. But
Yeah,
It
like
seems a
c5.
little bit of a weird move. Like maybe he's sometimes scared of having d6 as a weak spot for himself, and he's kind of saying that if he plays defensively, he has an advantage because his rook's open. And maybe he just wants to play a little bit of a slower game by going like b6, sorry, g6, bishop g7 here.
I guess
Castles
so.
just play defense first.
Knight e6, protect e7. I mean, yeah, that's for sure, because otherwise the bishop sacks into the pawn, and then you open up the file. But I mean, I don't know. You could replace it
I
with
guess-
a bishop afterward.
actually, it's funny, because this kind of reminds of, the Ryan's defended pawn opening right now. The
Oh
knight's
yeah, no, you're right. It is very much so. Defended pawn is a 5D chess variant that was invented by one of our co-hosts, Lexi here, where you swap two of the pieces. What do you swap? You swap a bishop and a knight.
Queen
Is that
and
what
a
happens?
No,
No,
bishop
the
and
queen
queen.
and the knight.
Oh
no.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I-
so that F7
Have you guys not
is
read the
covered.
law? The law is that the king married the horse.
Yikes.
What?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
we've...
follows the law.
But the queen still exists, so I guess the horse is the mistress? Okay,
Yeah,
don't
I
worry
mean
about
that's extended law. That's only in the
Wait,
DLC.
Okay. Extended universe lore. Anyway,
But then it makes
Yeah, I
sense.
tried to
why
upload
now,
that video, but YouTube wouldn't let me.
Ryan evangelized this opening that he was insistent for a while as soon as defended pawn became the standard variant for the 5D chess league for a season. And it looks a lot like this.
Yeah, I think I understand his gameplay now. Like he's kind of making a statement about what variants should be played in the like the chess world champion instead of turn 0. So he's transitioning to his position for no reason. He's even like sacrificing a pawn, saying like he would rather play this variant than like have an objective material advantage because white
No,
can
but
take on b6 here.
actually, Lexi, are you aware of Ryan's sort of school of 5D chess? He actually thinks that pawns have negative value, so this is not a sacrifice.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Oh man. Interesting. I still like. Okay, so it's Dreamer to play this again after losing the third game of the series. He's got to think. There are three things that he could think. There's either he thought that he had a good position coming out of the mid game and he just misplayed the late game and he learned from his mistakes. Or he thought that, well, he prepared in such a way that makes him confident that, he won't like succumb to the pitfalls of the opening that he sort of experienced in the last game. Or he's insane by Einstein's definition. And I wonder which of the three it is.
I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
actually much simpler than that. I think he's just like as long as he gets a playable position out of the opening, I think he's content.
No, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we're really at the place in 5D, chess where like players hire, a whole team to prepare the opening.
I mean, I didn't say he hired a team.
Yeah,
But you never
it's
know.
a natural next step.
Maybe he hired Ryan. It seems like Ryan hired Tones for game 4.
So I'm like I don't understand like what's going on here really. Like if white takes on b6 here,
Yeah, but why?
I mean, just developing, I guess. Okay, but he wants to grab more space. It actually makes some sense as well. But it
Well,
does
if
also
okay,
on the-
bishop takes, then maybe you could play like c5 as black and trap the
No, but
bishop
then-
somehow.
Yeah, but then you also open up knight b5 shenanigans.
Knight b. Well, that's true. Okay, so bishop takes b6, c5, knight b5, rook a6.
I'm almost confident then if bishop takes b6, Ryan would just ignore that.
Yeah,
And
you're
continue.
probably right. You're right.
He would, but
That's a Ryan
I
thing
guess
to do.
I mean, it's a. I guess it's a matter of taste mostly. Like he's trying to grab some space. But actually, I don't think I would mind seeing this as black because this pawn actually he puts it on a square that's gonna be in the line of sight of the bishop, which is gonna go to g7.
Yeah.
For anyone unfamiliar, Ryan's mantra is see a free piece, take a free piece, see a free pawn, don't. And you know, the man really practices what he preaches. That's all I can say.
But there's also a classic chess rule, which is I don't know what it's called in English exactly, but the translation would be the amateur knows the rules, the grandmaster knows the exception of the rule.
Okay, okay. I
So-
mean, I've heard
so-
there are a
Yes,
lot
yes,
of
you would
variations
both
of
of
that
them.
in English.
Yeah, and all of them probably sound equally cheesy. Like,
What's he threatening here? Like, is he going for d5 because it already looks like slightly sus,
D5 slightly sus for white or black?
right?
What makes you say so? I mean, that seems really annoying to deal with for.
what if just
Well,
knight
I mean,
c5?
but you can just exactly you can just put the knight back, and also like you're just wasting time basically going for development. Also like you have to like watch out for like knight g4 shenanigans now, which could be annoying for your pawn structure and also weaken the center again.
Right, right.
Oh, actually, knight g4, yeah.
Knight g4
It-
does seem really annoying.
Now became much more interesting because last turn the bishop could have just captured on b6 in response, but now
True, yeah.
it can't.
Huh.
I guess he could just also go for like a more of a positional approach, which would be something like rook d1, g2, g3, bishop g2 short castles, and kind of say that he has a space advantage. Black has a hard time attacking in the center, and maybe insert h3 at some point as well. So there's no knight g4 and go for more of a.
Oh my
positional
god,
approach.
Ryan.
Knight g7. What? Dude, it blows my mind that both players have taken like 6 minutes to get this many turns into the game, which is like pretty long for both of them. And it's a situation where I'm the least understanding of like where all of that time is going. What can someone tell me what knight g7 is other than I guess preventing d5 from happening or setting up for like knight f5, which for some reason is more preferable than knight g4?
I mean he
Knight,
wants.
knight fianchetto.
I think he wants to like first of all that knight was blocking his light squared bishop, so he can maybe get it out, but also now it's started blocking the dark squared bishop. I think he wants like after white goes. I guess after white goes d5, you can just close the position down now with c5 and also like. Knight f5 is in the position, but yeah, it also blocks in the bishop and yeah. Gives,
Okay, so
that was the next thing I was about to say is that
Yeah.
it gives white time to get the bishop out, and now like if white gets to consolidate here, like get an e3, bishop d3, he has like a very solid and strong position.
yeah, one thing that knight definitely was doing on e6 is, well, the reason it was kind of moved there in the first place was to defend e7.
Well, we don't exactly know that because it seems like Ryan's knight moves are quite mysterious.
I mean, he's only made knight moves, right? And pawn moves.
Oh,
But
he's playing like ultra Daigolian. Yeah,
The Ultra Daigolian, yeah.
he's like playing hand and brain with a troll brain. So, that's nice.
Oops all nights. Wow. I mean, okay, hey, I guess that's like a kind of chic way to take space on the king side and defend that knight, but like Dreamer doesn't really have to do anything here.
I think Ryan had mage on his team definitely with this move.
How many knight moves
I
in a
don't,
row?
I don't understand. Like, I guess I have a little bit of struggle understanding the game plan here because, like if White just goes h3 here, there's no bishop moves. You're threatening g4, and you still have the entire center, and Black still isn't developed.
You're threatening g4, but then where do you ever put your king in the late game?
I mean, you can.
You've screwed all of your like pawns, all of your hiding spots.
If Black allows g4, then it's f9. So, you know.
Also, you don't need to.
Whoa!
opponents-
E4.
Oh my god.
Okay.
You just need to
I-
checkmate your opponent before you get checkmated.
Are we watching the right game?
We're threatening. I mean, okay, Dreamer was really upset at Ryan showboating with E4 the previous game. This also sets up Connect 4 on the 4th rank in 1. So there are merits to this.
I mean, E4 always a chat move, obviously. I don't mind seeing this here. Like, I would have slightly preferred playing H3 first because at some point you're gonna have to play it.
Yeah.
But I mean, this makes sense to set up a big center. for
What
the
about-
status. Yeah.
Okay, well, you have to be a little concerned. Well, what about like Rook A5?
Oh,
You know, just
Rook-
get it involved in the defense. You're unwilling to move either of your bishops.
rook lift at some point can be funny.
Just get involved. I mean, it feels like Dreamer buying all that space is like starting to pay off because there's, you know, you're kind of feeling the pressure now as Ryan.
I mean, after Rook A5 G4, like, are you really gonna take that bishop?
Probably.
After Rook A5 G4, I mean, why not?
It's an endgame after all.
Yeah, but like there's still a lot of pieces, and maybe like takes.
I think I would like what I would be more worried about here is like some sacrifice on E4. At some point. Maybe even I guess not immediately, but it's something you have to look at. For sure.
Yeah.
Like even something like knight takes E4, knight takes back, and then F5. Need to just open up.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
I mean, you can always sacrifice.
Whoa,
back,
whoa,
but
whoa. Knight takes E. Oh, I guess you haven't moved the bishop yet. Yeah. Maybe.
It's certainly something you have to consider here. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Hey!
Ryan does play rook f5, which was a record
feels
I like
good.
too, because I think that b4 rook takes, knight takes, or maybe like bishop h6 even. But white can just defend with like maybe h4. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, that's true. As soon as that bishop is gone, you're kind of sitting pretty as Ryan with like bishop h6 potential. That's like really annoying to deal with. The way that he set up his pawns as a result of e4.
Okay. Instead, Dreamer plays d5.
That's I like that move because now he's threatening bishop takes b6 immediately with tempo. Oh no, wait, never mind. I'm
Threatening
blind.
bishop takes b6.
No, I'm blind. That bishop moved a long time ago.
Okay, so if
Sorry,
listen,
I'm playing blind 50.
if c takes, then c takes, right?
Yeah.
But you, if c takes, and if you just take with like the rook, and then
Yeah.
knight takes, like, do you end up in a favorable position because there's no way that he can take his pawn off of e4? Because it's only
I,
like
I don't
singly
think I don't
defended?
think you I don't think you take on d5 here. Simply because after c takes back, you open up the light square bishop for checks as well.
I mean, that's true. Those checks are really annoying. And those pawns, yeah, okay, that's fair. Because then you're
I
like
like it.
3 pawns down, essentially. As soon as
Yeah,
you
I
why-
don't think you wanna like you would maybe consider c5 here, but that also allows knight b4, even though you could sack the rook
Yeah, but
again.
Yeah, I think we can just
So
ignore
c5
that.
c5 might work. Like if you're intending to sack the exchange. If you go c5, that also stops b4
Uh-huh.
because that's hanging. But yeah, I actually think that bishop d7.
I guess this is
a better move.
prophylactic against g4, right?
I mean, like now,
you know,
now knight takes
HV
e4 is a
G4.
real threat. Now knight takes e4 is a real threat.
True, because you have immediate mate.
Yeah.
No, it's not immediate mate, but you also have bishop takes b2, and also you have 2 bishops that can enter the diagonal then.
Right.
I'm not sure if it's like all that real.
Takes,
Because
takes,
also-
takes is really annoying.
I mean,
huh?
that's what he's looking at. I think he's trying to signalize that as well.
Hmm.
If you look at his
Because-
mouse movement.
Yeah, but
That's him,
yeah.
right? That's not you, Samet, right?
No, you can't see my pointer.
Yeah, he's looking at.
yeah, Samet is not in at Ryan's place, but like knight takes.
Well, you don't know.
Oh, like, okay, e7 pawn is not defended now, so
That's what I was gonna say. That bishop was actually defending that e7 pawn.
there can be some fun counterplay. But okay,
Okay, well, it
I mean, it
seems
doesn't
like
matter
Dreamer is cognizant of the weakness
Dreamer
on the e4
defends-
square.
Yeah, I mean that was the only logical move here to play.
yeah,
Discovering it, developing it, and yeah, I guess Black still has to develop his light squared bishop at some point. And White's probably going for. I mean, I'm starting to like.
at this
I'm starting,
point.
I'm starting to like White's position again because now he's
Ooh,
like kind of
rattles off
threatening.
h6.
He's kind of threatening before again, and he still has that h3 g4 idea.
It feels this is like a particularly so we talk a lot about in 5D chess how there's like this tightrope walk that you play, not wanting to fall onto either being too like you want to aggress because aggression is really good in 5D chess, but also you don't want to overextend, and so that's like a really fine balance, right? Similarly, you want to like as the defending player sort of be playing solid but also not get overwhelmed. And this game is like a particularly, it feels like, sort of
I
precarious
propose-
balance of the two.
I propose a drinking game.
Okay.
Drink every time Ryan makes a knight move.
That's funny.
I will be drinking tea.
I'll drink yerba as soon as this game is over.
you
H6
drunk before
weird
drawing the
moves,
card?
says Nikita.
Okay, so I guess we have to go before here, right? Because now like now knight c5 is kind of annoying to deal with. He might be slightly worried that the diagonal gets open, but I think knight c5 is a little bit too scary here. I guess after knight c5 bishop c2 you can kind of hold on. But I mean, what else are you gonna play? Like, are you really
Oh,
gonna pass
actually-
in this position?
Actually, there's some funny ideas. Maybe not right away, but after b4, what if like knight f4?
Okay,
Yeah.
explain yourself.
No, I mean he means that the bishop is the only piece guarding the knight. So you can't take the knight because then bishop takes c3 as a.
But it's like
Wait,
it
takes,
doesn't-
bishop takes, and then...
Bishop takes.
So you're
is-
saying that, like, bishop back to d2 isn't good? Because, I mean, if the bishop takes...
Oh, you take with check. You take
Oh,
with
you
check.
take with check, right, okay.
And the rook's hanging.
So you have to block, and then the rook is hanging, and then I understand. Oh, well, okay,
Okay,
there's
And
b4.
also, I mean, you
But
can
after
still,
knight f4, there's like bishop f1, maybe.
you have to, I guess. I mean, you can also as black, you can also take the. No, you can't. But never mind.
Okay,
Yeah,
Ryan
he just runs back.
the issue is that like in all lines, like if white can't defend, your rook's always hanging at the end, and it's kind of tough to evaluate if there's gonna be like more tactics coming up then. And I guess white's just gonna go g3 here because he doesn't want to allow that either. These are g3 or like rook c1, which is like very normal chess moves as well. No, I guess
g3, but you really have to be careful because after, like, if
You
this
can't go
knight ever
c1.
leaves d7, basically having 0 defenders, especially without anything on e3 of the f3 square, can be like bad for business. Like if the light squared bishop ever gets onto g4.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of true.
But I mean, I
then
guess you
again-
gotta, you know, like you gotta move your pieces, right? You can't just like wait for
Exactly, like-
g4.
Oh, like basically prompting knight.
Almost forcing knight f4.
But then I guess just bishop f1, and the knight is actually kind of not doing much on f4.
I mean it's true, but it's also this is kind of a loser move. Like I mean, like bishop f1 is not what you want as white here for sure.
g4
Well,
seems okay. Yeah, I mean Ryan takes the bait. It seems like.
I mean you have to.
Yeah, no, you
I
do.
mean, like wait. I mean just curious. Like can you just take that knight and go king e2?
Oh, that's crazy, dude. No way.
No, I don't.
No,
yeah.
because can't wait. Okay, maybe.
And after bishop takes knight, you go rook a2. Like if you threaten something like I guess that's too crazy. It's too crazy because after king e2, you can maybe even take on a3 in some lines
Yeah.
because bishop b2 is a big threat.
Yeah, without a queen, there's no Tchaikovsky threat, I guess. So you could think about it.
I mean
I
maybe
think,
like maybe you can go like king e2 and then rook h b1.
Yeah, but like the reason is why, because it's like it's still a knight for a knight, and then you
He's
can
signaling
defend.
this as well. He's saying after takes you can go rook b1 because like I don't think like bishop f1 is a really awkward move here because you still have to deal with the pin at some point of the knight, and you can't play rook c1 because then a3 is hanging. And if you play rook f1, that also means that you can't get your other rook into the game.
Lexi, are you watching the Discord stream or my Twitch stream, by the way?
Watching your Twitch stream.
Okay,
Oh.
then obviously you're seeing my pointer. And 'cause his
Okay.
pointer in the game is the mouse pointer. But it's lagless in Discord, so that's why we have him stream. Like, you should watch the Discord stream for. But yeah, every time you've been saying,
But
"Oh,
every
look, he's
viewer
signaling Rook B1," that's me signaling your move to the audience, which is really funny.
You mean for the deaf viewers?
Yeah, for the deaf viewers. Well, no, because a lot of 5D chess players even, they're not very good with like the notation, right? Not to mention it helps to
But
visualize.
hold it. That's another one for the post-game interview. Like, who's keeping track of the post-game interview questions? If you calculate this.
Oh my god. Write them down if you want to ask something post-game.
Okay, and
Bishop f4, bishop c3, king e2 is losing, says Nikita. How would we know that that's a rook? You always call it a knight. You're not wrong. Okay, all right.
okay.
Falls back to
Yeah, for some reason I didn't look at this.
falls back to c2. That
Oh
seems
yeah,
sensible.
because there is the knight
Ooh.
g2.
Look at these knights, man. That is spooky. That is scary.
Okay.
What do you do about c4? I mean, what do you do about the knight on f3, I guess? But like takes is like really sketchy. Yeah, okay. So now what do you do?
This is getting tough. This is getting very tough.
I guess you have to trade
Okay.
in, right?
Also G4 is hanging now.
Yeah, G4 hanging is the reason that all of it. Because I mean, otherwise, like if Dreamer takes on F4 and then Ryan takes back, then it's like not insane if G4 was defended. It doesn't look amazing, but like it's not the end of the world. But G4 being gone is like pretty Monka-esque.
There's just even like, what if? Yeah. What if like, is there a threat of knight e2, king takes e2, bishop takes g4, and if king moves back, I don't know, it isn't okay. Sorry. I thought there was like maybe then bishop f3 and then.
I mean, maybe you can go rook g1 here and cover both.
Right, rook G1. Oh, and cover both
But
bishop takes
yeah, but-
G4 and also knight G2.
Yeah, but then after like knight h3, like this is just. This
Oh,
is
knight
getting very ugly
H3
for white.
sucks. Yeah, exactly. That's
Getting very ugly.
I think you probably have to. Well, I don't know. If you play H3, are you like dead?
If you play
That's
h3,
why- Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, because otherwise, like your options are what? Bishop takes on F4, and then that just feels really bad. You really don't want to drop G4.
Both players are listening because Ryan signals flexes moves and Dreamer makes no moves.
We've also, as Chop points out, we've also got queenside castle for Dreamer.
Yeah, and as Nikita points out, rook takes a3.
you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have queenside castle because a3 is hanging.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Yeah, I mean-
the next one, which is no worries, with very interesting punctuation.
Like even
Oh, is it?
the problem is you have to keep
Oh,
track
no.
of so many of so much stuff here. Like even something like even if you give the check here, like where are you gonna put your king? You don't really wanna play king d1. But if you play king f1, you're just gonna run into knight h4 immediately.
Yeah, well, okay. King F1, knight H4, bishop D1.
Yeah, I mean you can certainly.
It looks bad, okay? It
Hold on,
doesn't
yeah.
look good. Overextended white pawns. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's always this whole game. There's been this back and forth between like, well, okay, Dreamer really took a lot of space, and now Ryan feels pressured. But then,
I think what Black's looking into is getting his last piece into the game. I think he's gonna play something like h5 here.
Okay,
we played
Ryan.
something like G5 here,
Yeah. Huh.
which is just
Plays
solid and buy
on-
some time.
Raw, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this actually makes more sense. He wants
Yeah.
to prepare h5.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like white can have a lot to do. What is the useful move for white here?
Well, yeah, so that's the thing, right? White has all this quote-unquote space, but it really does feel super overextended now. Like, all the pieces are playing really important defensive roles, and he's stretched too thin.
Like I'm still like this even though if it doesn't lose on the spot, I think you have to take the knight at some point.
Yeah,
I think you have to
yeah.
take on f5, and I think maybe now it might even be possible.
Which it
because
doesn't
there's
now,
no-
right?
Because now the bishop's on c2, so this might actually be
Yeah.
one way to because like the knight's just gonna be too scary, and the real issue here is that you either have to play something like rook a2 to get off the pin and then play knight e2, but it's still always a check. So if there's no issue with taking the knight immediately, you probably have to do that.
I mean, knight e2 is sketchy on its own, because the knight... Well, okay. Because if the knight takes, then the king moves up. And then you have... Oh, and then you have a Tchaikovsky.
Never mind. No, never mind. I'm stupid. If you take now, you just lose a piece because you take with check and then.
Yeah.
You grab the rook. But even if you didn't grab the rook, like
No,
if,
you don't grab
if
the
it was
rook, you grab-
post,
I think you have to play rook a2. I don't see any other move, honestly.
yeah.
But yeah, even after rook a2. Oh yeah, okay.
You have to play rook a2, or you have to play something like a4 and then try to castle.
Yeah. I guess a4 castle
Even after
makes
rook
sense.
a2.
Like the one thing White has in this position is that the black bishop's not active. But you only have like 2 moves before that becomes relevant because h5 is coming.
Okay, I mean, how much worse is the bishop on f4 versus the knight on f4. Like, why not just throw your dark square bishop into that knight? It's causing you so many problems. We do see rook a2 come out.
Okay, Ryan just.
Okay, well, you can't castle queenside anymore. So like the a4 castles isn't a thing. So now you have to deal with the fact that your knight or your king has lost its mobility, and you have to deal with all of these pawns marching down the king side of the board, which is sketchy.
I think this is not holdable anymore for white now, because I don't see any way to actually protect this.
It doesn't look good, does it?
You can't even play f3 here because you just take twice.
Like the worst thing about this game is like I wanted to see how do I win, if it's either Ryan or Dreamer wins, so I will know how to win either Ryan or Dreamer, right? But like what happened is Ryan just did like a million knight moves and then Dreamer lost.
Yeah.
I can replicate that.
For me, this was probably the most bizarre game of the World Championship.
For
so far.
sure, I completely agree.
Because it feels like Black got a really good position off the opening. Then like the knight moves happened, which was really strange. I think actually White had a really strong position.
The knight moves was the opening.
Then eventually like what happened is White just played a little bit too defensively.
But overextended.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he just straight up didn't see knight f5, which would be surprising.
That would be surprising. Dreamer, by the way, down to less than half of a minute on this clock.
Or you mean, oh, okay, and now knight g2 seems like very strong, right?
Yeah, I mean just knight g2 or just taking on g4.
Ryan's laughing here. Whoa, yeah, hold on. So knight g2 here forces king f1.
Yeah, fine.
And, yeah.
That's bad, man.
Then knight h4, and
But
then
when-
I guess you have to move the king again.
Yeah, then knight h4, or you could even go back to f. No, you can go
You can even
back to f4 and threaten a travel.
you can even take on g. Oh, no.
But if you go knight f4 now, you can take the knight because the other knight moved.
Oh, I guess that's true.
You actually, I think Ryan could have even just took on g4.
Oh my
because
god,
you
I
cannot
forgot.
take- What did you forget?
The fact that the king is on, sorry, the knight is on d1 now means that you can't play bishop d1 after knight h4. So what do you do about f3?
I mean, you have to move the king again, right?
Yeah, you have to move the king again.
Okay.
And that sucks.
Yeah, that's
Repetition?
Yeah, he can take.
You
now.
can just take, but you can also put your king. No, knight f3 here anyway. Is there anything there? Well, you probably don't want to travel, I guess. Dreamer's got 4 seconds on the clock. He's living on delay.
I think just knight f3, and then you take the bishop, and then go bishop. I mean, he takes on g4, which is fine as well. But I think what was a more forcing line is knight f3, king e2. You take the bishop, and after king takes, you have bishop d4.
Yeah.
I guess he still has it.
Oh, but actually, yeah. And you cannot block with the bishop because.
I mean, if you can, you have rook takes a3.
Yeah.
It feels like Ryan has made this slightly more complicated than it had to be to convert
still
near
has-
the end.
No,
But I mean,
no,
he's
it's-
fine. He's got a bunch of time.
I mean, it's like it's went from winning position to winning position, so it's.
Yeah, true.
I mean, knight takes bishop, king takes, and then bishop d4. Like, I guess rook takes a3 is more accurate in that scenario. Like after knight takes.
Yeah,
king
rook takes a3
rook
definitely. Yeah.
No, I think even bishop d4 first. and
Why?
then- Okay.
Okay. Are
No,
we
but I
gonna
think
see a
that's good
promotion?
Yeah. Actually, I was about to say. That.
I don't know, Samet. Are we? How far are you with your PhD?
Doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, it's not even like a
You
physics.
don't call it that in English? God damn it.
No,
The
we
German
don't.
viewers will understand.
Wait, okay, so he's got, for
Oh.
what it's worth, he has no, well, okay, let's think.
It's
Takes-
like it's now it's kind of a game of how much Ryan can humiliate Dreamer. Unfortunately,
Do you think so?
yeah.
I mean, oh, that's right. That's probably the best move there.
It's the prettiest move, but it's like
Okay, GG. Dreamer flags, but what a crushing position anyway. Oh my god. Okay, wow. So we see Ryan now taking. Let's jump to our. Well, hold on. Give me a second.
okay. So Dreamer has to win the entirety of the remaining games. now.
Here's our scorecard. Dreamer now has to win 3 games in a row to go to tiebreakers, which is kind of rough. I mean, I think Dreamer looked good out of the opening, like 10 moves into the game. We saw that he applied pressure, but then he backed off when Ryan just sort of built a solid base with his 1,000 knight moves. But
I'll say it, I
I'm
don't
not
think- I don't
sure
think-
what the narrative of the game was. Like, I'm trying to piece together something that covers like the arc of sort of the back and forth, but I can't really make heads or tails of it. Like, it's too high level for me.
I actually think they both had a bad game. Because like this was very back and forth for what was kind of in some ways or another like unnecessary. Like it would be curious to hear like some of their thoughts on like some of the critical position, because in many ways it feels like there was actually not that much like going on tactically, and it was more like of a strategic game. But yeah, certainly the opening was very bizarre from both sides in my opinion.
Doesn't that
I mean,
mean
this
that
is
they
the highest level
play
after all, right?
well though? As opposed to it being a bad game from both players, like if you abstract yourself from the tactics to the strategy level.
I think if you give this position that Dreamer is right, like on a normal game to him, he's not gonna lose that because he had a very strong position.
Interesting.
And that's
okay.
kind of like
wow.
that's kind of like what I'm getting at here. Like it wasn't like a bad game per se, but it's very uncharacteristic that we had so many swings. In a game, whereas you look at the previous games, it was pretty clear, or at least we had a very good indication of what was going on. Like one side usually had an advantage and then kept it, but here was kind of like back and forth, and then knight f5, which must have been an oversight. Otherwise, like why would he play v4? Was just a little bit.
I wonder if Dreamer has regained his mortal instincts as a result of the previous game. Time will
Hey,
tell, I
Matt,
suppose.
what's the score right now?
The score right now is 4 games on Ryan's side and 1 game of Dreamer's, meaning that Dreamer, if he wants to continue his bid for the 5D Chess World Championship of 2023, he's going to have to win 3 games in a row, which is a lot of pressure. I mean, he came into the day only able to give up 1 game, obviously, and told us that that wasn't very germane to his outlook. He told us that he was playing with a lack of fear of dying, like a soldier or something. I forget his words. With a soldier's lack of fear of dying or something.
Well, if it translated to chess, it would be a lack of fear of losing. So
I mean, he certainly is dying in this match at the moment. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, being down 3 games, 2 of which you're playing is black. It's obviously not what you want. But yeah,
Wise
I mean, it's
words.
fine. Anything can happen.
Ryan attempting the rare bishop move on turn 1 before remembering that the knights are the ones that jump over the pawns.
No, Ryan just playing infinite chess. Well, Dreamer plays finite chess.
I think that was the most butchered quote I've ever heard. Well, it was butchered before I repeated it. Here we go. Okay, Ryan is sticking to his tried and true knight of 3 d4 c3. Nothing we haven't seen before. And e4 again! The confidence, the gall of this man, the balls. And Dreamer takes, he accepts the gambit. What is this? Oh
And
my
Ryan-
god.
Knight take. Oh, okay. Crazy.
Knight
So,
takes is
one
interesting.
thing we
Yeah,
can
but
say
like-
that what 5D chess players have learned over the years that you should occupy the E file.
Yeah. That e-file is
Yeah.
one piece short of being like 8 in a row.
Okay, so do you think that Dreamer looked back at the game and thought, you know what, I'm gonna call him out on this BS, or do you think that he's tilted?
No, I think for
Well,
sure.
no, he's certainly not tilted. Like not yet. I mean, like,
Not
there's
yet.
some merit-
What's he waiting for?
I mean, there's
Oh,
some
he might be
merit.
tilted. He might be tilted, but I don't think that's why, you know.
Okay. Well, wow. Okay. I mean, all right.
So, I mean, the bishop on e6 actually makes a little bit of sense if you go for a Fianna Keto, simply because you're controlling b3 as well for the queen, so there's no queen b3 nonsense, which would be like a normal position attacking like b7. You can go queen b6 yourself, hitting the dark squares. I mean, you're up a pawn. I guess no, never mind. You're not up a pawn.
Yeah, you're not
No,
yet
you're up a
anyway.
pawn. No, you're up a pawn.
Oh no, you are. Yeah, but I mean, assuming that you can
Which is
defend
certainly- which is
the.
always relevant in 5D, as everyone knows.
Yeah, but I think like
It is.
Black would prefer to not have their pawn on e7. Maybe they would.
Dude, if we get a black pawn on e4 and a white pawn on e5, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Bro, wasn't there like a crazy screenshot from Tones where like white have all 8 pawns and one of the black pawns is like behind the white pawn?
Oh yes, I remember. Wow. Okay, trading off those knights.
Okay, that's
Well, it is kind of developmentally a little awkward for white. I
So-
mean, black
so
too, but
The main question is here is like, can white play bishop c4 or not? Like, can you break this early, or because otherwise, like, if black just gets to like develop, like even the extra pawn on e4 is kind of an asset, just taking away some squares, because you can effectively, you can never move your bishop from e3 easily, because it's
Right.
very threatening, and also you have to watch over f2, which is a good sign. But apart from that, like if this is his prep, I'm actually kind of
I'd be impressed.
of what white claims Servier as an advantage, because and you can see he's taking his time, so this is not prep anymore.
E4 is particularly good here, that pawn, just because it takes away f3
Takes away
from
F3
being
and-
able to cover, and like you still have your queen. So actually, okay, so he's going for what Lexi just mentioned.
I mean, it also frees up the bishop from looking at c4, b3, and yeah, I guess you have to play bishop c4, because if you let the bishop control, especially b2 as well, like b3, which is like the main vector of attack, then yeah, it's kind of mysterious here.
But dude,
and
if you let this trade happen as black, like having your queen on e6 is like kind of
but I
fantastic, right?
I think you either like, so what white wants to do here is play queen b3,
Yeah.
and then threaten bishop takes, queen takes b7.
Right.
So as black, you can either ignore this and go for bishop g6 long castles, bishop g7 short castles, or you can play maybe bishop d5 as well,
right.
consolidating everything.
Oh, bishop d5.
Bishop d5 does actually look good, huh? Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Bishop d5 also looks good. Man, okay, this is really interesting.
There's a lot of like there's actually a lot of stuff going on in this position, because
Yeah,
even
wow.
something like knight g4 looks interesting for black here.
Yeah,
While you still have the
definitely.
option.
Absolutely, yeah.
Knight g4?
Yeah, I think so. No?
Okay, yeah. See.
I mean, knight g4, and then when do you... I mean, knight g4, queen e2, but then there's like... Well, I guess that kind of stops that, huh?
It does kind of stop it. I think this most solid move here would be like bishop d5, just keeping everything together, and even after queen b2, queen b3, you don't really want to take on. You don't really want to take the bishop ever, because
What?
then the
Knight
should be
d5?
back.
Oh, knight d5.
Weird.
Okay.
Okay. I guess he really likes the light square bishop because that's part of what traps the bishop on e3 for the rest of the game, right?
Well,
Because
actually,
you threaten the mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this move makes sense as well because white can never take on e4 here because
Yeah.
then you take with check and then the bishop's hanging.
Exactly, yeah.
And like even now, like there might be like some long-term idea of taking up the bishop, and yeah, this also frees up the f8
Wow,
bishop
this is
sometimes.
spicy. Okay, Ryan doesn't want any part of that shit. Wow.
I think as Rima right now you're really happy because like you're in a
Yeah.
very aggressive and playable position that's gonna have a, I mean I guess most 5D games have a decisive result, but you certainly have some attacking ideas here.
No, I completely agree. I'm really impressed actually by Dreamer's play. Well, okay, so I mean, I guess there's a decision to be made here about whether you take with the bishop or the or the queen.
Take with the bishop for sure.
Then why hasn't he?
I don't know. Maybe he's lagging.
He's lagging. You think it's the Russian ISP strikes again? Well, what do you think, Andre?
If you take
About
with
the
pawn, I'm
ISP
losing my goddamn
and
mind.
no, or the queen would be the alternative there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Taking with the bishop seems supernatural, but okay.
Okay, well, yeah,
But
screw
it's
you
not really-
guys. What do you know?
I didn't finish my sentence, Seven. No.
The only reason why I can see that is maybe he wants to go like h5 bishop g4. But yeah, it so to me it seems strange because now there's actually some lines where white gets queen b3 again.
Mm. Oh,
What if he was
I think-
afraid of bishop d? Well, never mind. Well,
I don't know, maybe just like he wants to put his queen in the spot where it can swing quickly to.
yeah, on like the
both sides.
open rank.
Yeah, on both sides of the board. So, for example, like if white queen moves, maybe black queen can go to h5.
I guess
Some
that's a good
lines.
point. Yeah, because look at what look
Yeah,
at
for example, like Sirtus proposes queen b3, but then queen h5.
wait, queen b3. Then you have a discovered attack if you move the queen.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So, for example, Sirtus, I think, what? But
It's
then,
bad.
but no, but then white has queen takes b7.
Exactly. So my point, or I guess why I don't understand the queen takes, is because after queen b3, I'm pretty sure you have to go queen d7 back.
No, but I think queen h5 probably will still maybe work.
Yeah, but aren't you
H5? You
screwed
wanna
by
allow
queen
queen
h5?
h7?
Okay, you know what? I would allow queen takes
Yeah,
b7
queen-
for sure.
Queen takes b7 and then just rook c8. And what is white doing?
Yeah, rook c8,
What?
there's nothing, and then you have a game-winning travel in like 3 turns.
What are you talking? Okay, rook c8.
Okay, so queen b3, queen h5, right? If the threat is queen takes b7, then if you just swing your rook over to c8 where it's defended by the e6 bishop, your queen is about to do like queen from h5, queen g4, travel 2 turns into the past, and then
I mean,
immediate
there's
checkmate.
so much stuff you have to calculate here. Like,
Yes. Well,
this,
yeah,
this,
it's
seems,
fine.
this seems very unnecessary for black.
What would you prefer?
I would have
But
preferred
remember-
bishop takes if that wasn't clear. no, but I mean,
Trump-
like if white goes queen b3, he has to do it right now. I'm pretty sure of that. He could also maybe go queen c2 instead, just threatening the pawn.
Queen c2, I could see. Well, queen c2 would actually be quite annoying. Or maybe you're okay with that. No, well, seems sketchy.
By the way, if you move the... Oh, okay, actually. The thing is, after you move the queen...
You mean that e2 is weak?
Yeah, it's weak, and I think
Yes.
it's immediately weak.
Yeah.
I think it's immediately weak, because if you land there, and then... Oh, okay, maybe not. Okay, it's hard, okay.
It's a hard game.
mean, like a natural move would just be like Queen E2, like covering everything and actually allowing the the dark squared bishop to move again for white as well.
Yeah,
because
Queen
the
E2
covering F2.
kind of is covering everything, but
I'm pretty sure Ryan must be looking at Queen B3 at the moment.
He's taking his sweet time, that's for sure.
oh, for some reason I thought Ryan is in my brain. I thought that Ryan is black.
Bro, come on.
I mean, Ryan certainly stumped as well by Queen takes instead of Bishop takes.
I don't know. At some point I flipped. I think it's just Queen G4 is kind of strikes me as a Ryan move a little bit for some reason. Queen D5.
Oh, Queen D5 strikes you as a... You know, I kind of agree, actually. Yeah. Although, also, Ryan is very famously incredibly skeptical of all of the, of, like, the swinging the queen over to the B file to attack that pawn. Okay, he goes for the Queen E2, which definitely seems like the most conservative of all the options. And he spent a lot of time thinking about it.
But the funny thing about Queen E2 is actually, so if black can travel to E2, then it's going to be disastrous.
Yeah, and now
right?
it takes the queen and you don't have it for the defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what if we start thinking about... Well, okay, actually, what about just like H5 here for
It's a
black?
very good candidate move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just grabbing some more space. Also in some lines you have Bishop H6 because the rook's protecting, as well as Bishop G4 sometimes.
Yeah.
And which also would kind of justify the queen moving.
Oh,
yeah, actually,
great
I like
point.
Black's position here.
Okay, but
Because he has the
then
bishop there as well.
we just get the Frappuccino on G7.
Yeah, I mean, that also makes some sense, just getting the bishop out, because now you don't have any threats of taking on F2 ever, basically, because it's protected twice.
True.
So he also maybe just wants to put on some pressure on the clock, which is why he wanted to play quickly. H5 is can be a little bit committal as well.
So yeah, I think at this point, white almost have to play like E4 or something, because otherwise, Bishop G4.
C4, did you say?
Yeah.
I kind of agree.
I'm not sure of timing because I think Bishop G4 already works, maybe.
Although then you have to be worried.
I mean, that's why
Okay,
I
we
played
see
Bishop
H4.
G7, right?
Which I...
Okay, so it's interesting. But I guess... Okay. I'm not sure if
I'm
Dreamer
not sure
plays that.
why. You probably play H... Does this push you toward playing H5?
Absolutely, yeah. That's like a very normal reaction when you see this move also in classical.
Right.
Is when your opponent plays H4, just play H5. Because if you don't, sometimes your opponent can push H5 as well, threatening to activate his rook or trapping in your bishop.
There's also an interesting asymmetry here, like bishop pair versus bishop and knight, which I feel like we don't get. It doesn't get a lot of attention in 5D chess, which I think is a
Okay,
shame.
I don't think it's also relevant in this position because it's way too sharp to, those differences to shine, really. I wonder if Bishop G4 already works. Bishop G4, Queen takes, and then Queen B5 to travel on the Queen.
Yeah,
But maybe
yeah.
maybe it's unnecessary.
But why? How's that bad? Oh, you mean because then the check's coming again?
What do you mean? No, I just.
You mean because you have a check on H5 and then a check on B5? Is that your point?
Yeah, I want to travel on the Queen, and then I have like Bishop checks, and
Queen checks. Yeah, true.
And I have two places to checkmate. I have H5 and B5, right? So it's...
I'm a little baffled by why this in particular is like the move that Dreamer has thought about the most in the last like 4 or 5 moves. I mean, the position's super sharp, don't get me wrong, but it kind of feels like what else was he planning?
He might be considering to go B5 here himself to shut down C4.
B5 to shut down C4.
I don't think he's gonna castle because then
The thing
H5
about
actually makes some sense.
B5, the thing about B4 is it also pins the knight.
I mean, like, why, the big issue White has in this position is that his queen has no squares.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
literally. Like,
True.
they can't move anywhere, so he has to back free at some point. The second issue is every move you make also kind of weakens your own position. Like, even if you get in c4, that also means that d4 is now under fire. So this is kind of what you do when you are like running out of ideas. You start to push your pawns on the side to maybe activate his because he needs to activate his rook. He can obviously never castle in either direction here.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Because that's usually like your bailout sort of strategy when you go for e4 as white.
Like unless Dreamer is calculating something crazy here, like I don't know, deflecting the bishop or something, then I'm gotta ask why he's spending so much time here instead of playing just h5.
Nikita is incredibly succinct with his
Yeah,
comments.
Nikita's throwing a lot of shade at e4 right now. Tone says, I thought Ryan was against moving the h-pawn. And that, I guess, harkens back to Lexi's, you have to know the rules to break the rules, or whatever.
Yeah. Like, it's not like if he against play moving the h-pawn, it's not like he will never ever move his h-pawn in any position.
It's like Ben Feingold in f3, right?
I am not super familiar with the law.
Oh, come on, man.
No, but I know it's like his catchphrase, always play f3, but or like never play f3.
Yeah, those are two very different catchphrases. Okay, so he
No, but
spent 5 minutes, or okay, like 4 minutes on h5, which is baffling to me, but I mean...
No, I think he probably was considering bishop g4. If
Bishop g4 straight up is such a not Dreamer move. It's more
Yes,
of a
it's
Ryan
not-
move.
More of an Andre move.
It's not a Dreamer move, yes.
And
But
this
it's-
is like whenever I played against Andre on the Elobot, like he would always lose against everyone else because he keeps doing this shit, and then if he does it against me, it works every time.
no, I think like I actually start playing better when I'm playing against you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Remember when you were like 1500 and I was always
okay.
saying like, why aren't you like 1800, and then you beat me like 5 times in a row, and then suddenly you're like number 3 on the leaderboard.
I think number 3 is like my most
Most occupied space.
yeah most
Okay,
occupied.
so here knight f1 is clearly freeing up the queen in the event of bishop g4 to be able to get the heck out of there, right?
But bishop g4 seems like super winning now because now you don't have to sacrifice. your bishop.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. And also, if the queen moves, like, where can the queen move? Because now you have, like, let's say, like, queen c2 happens or something, then queen c4 is, like, it's super rough, right?
Queen c4 or even just a queen b5 for a longer travel.
Okay. Man, all right. This looks, I mean, it feels kind of dire. But okay. So actually, you have to, with the knight gone from d2, I guess you kind of have to replace it with the queen, because otherwise you could get something like the bishop on g7 taking on d4. And if pawn takes, then that opens up the triagonal, and then you can, or if bishop takes, then you just push the pawn and, like, you do like a phase. There's like weird stuff happening. So I guess this is somewhat defensively forced. Man, this game is hard.
You know that
huh?
meme from Breaking Bad where they like sit in the restaurant, and then Jesse's just talking a lot, and then at the end, Water just goes, Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about? That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, actually, this is surprisingly, accurate. But I haven't even watched.
I mean, like it has to be something like Queen B5 ideas here, right? And then
Yeah.
maybe in some lines you can drop back to A6, maybe even to get a longer diagonal.
Yeah, queen b5, but you have to wait before queen b5. Unless you want to go queen a6 immediately after queen b5 and then wait a turn and then travel, because you can't go queen b5 then queen a6 because you block your own travel.
Yeah.
But then,
mean,
dude, it looks rough. I really don't know, man. Like, okay, if you literally just queen c4 right now, what do you do? Knight knight g3, I guess, maybe? To defend e2?
The reason why Dreamer is taking his time here probably is because he's running out of like slow improving moves. Like this is the point in the game where you're basically activating everything.
Right.
It's tough to like there's no more pawn breaks. Like you're not gonna go like f5 f4 or something. You're not gonna probably activate your rooks. So it has to be like some more concrete moves.
Right. Because otherwise you would love to just sit in this board state with that bishop staring at e2 for a few turns. If you could just make calm, good moves.
White's getting ready to play knight g3, which is hitting the pawn and covering e2. So it's not like White isn't doing anything. But
hey, there's my queen c4.
Nice.
Glad we finally have a good 5D engine. It's 5D Nikita.
yeah, you have to go.
Okay, yeah, knight g3. Okay.
I'm not sure about c4 because it looks like it's not long.
Call me
Overtravel.
Stockfish, but like 5D OCKFISH. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god.
Maybe queen a6 next, yeah, for a longer travel. That would be
for
on the queen.
a6.
Yeah, that looks really good actually. Doesn't it?
But then maybe Dreamer can prepare to run.
Oh,
no.
immediate travel.
I
Immediate
can't do this
travel.
shit when I can't see the board state.
Is this?
Well, yeah, I guess it's still completely winning because you cannot really defend, in parallel because there's.
Yeah,
just,
this
it's
looks
not-
crushing.
Oh, that's true, and it's from so. Wow, that is rough.
It's
Yeah,
going to be checks all the way, so it's,
Bishop checks and then queen checks, right?
Yeah, bishop checks mate. I don't see how, because the queen doesn't have very far to travel from d2. So, I mean, it looks like this is curtains.
Certainly
Yes,
looks
so-
like it.
Okay.
I
I
have
mean-
nothing against red. I mean, it's a soft mate.
Respect. I mean, it's soft mate, but you can't travel because look at all of your pieces. That's what's so great for Dreamer about Ryan electing to put his queen on d2 of all squares, right?
I mean, I guess that's why he captured with the queen, not with the bishop, right?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, hey, Dreamer
Well,
bouncing
that's a very
back.
good-
Whoever
very good
counted
comeback.
him out. I mean, there's got to be egg on your face.
You were literally the one that kept putting the points in the scoreboard for Ryan, so. But yeah, very nice comeback here from Dreamer in game number. What is this, 6?
This is the sixth
Yeah.
game, yeah. So this, if Dreamer takes this, it would be 4-2. But I mean, hey, the fat 5-dimensional lady has yet to sing. I mean, how do you reach? Listen, it's the World Championship. So, as Ryan, or I guess we're
Dreamer's
waiting on
considered yeah.
Dreamer. What's Dreamer
Basically-
considering? Another check, I guess? Like, why would you ever do that?
Because, like, maybe he. I mean, he has the option if he wants to soft mate on c5 or b6.
Oh,
Sorry,
wait.
on c4.
No, if you go to c4 now, then
Yeah.
you. Oh, okay. Actually, there is a way. Because you go back to this board that they're looking at right now, and then your queen on e2 can capture the queen upstairs.
But
you
queen
can
c4
pin it.
wants this board. Queen c, or you can
Don't
play
you have any
queen
checks
c4.
here?
You
Can
can
go, like,
pin the
queen
queen,
takes
c4.
and that's sufficient.
Queen c4 checks. Queen
Exactly.
C4 checks.
Queen. What? No.
You can take on a2 here as well.
Oh,
right?
you want to do it next turn anyway. Sorry, that was my bad. No, here as Dreamer, because there's no check, you go queen c4, and that prevents Ryan from traveling up to the top board because the queen is pinned on the bottom board.
I mean, if that's what you mean by pins, then sure. But
And it just protects it, right?
Well, okay, but by pin,
No,
I
it's
mean,
it just checks the king.
yeah, sorry,
also.
it checks the king, so pin is like the weirdest way to say that and doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it checks the king on the top board if Dreamer goes queen c4.
Retroactively why you used this word, but I couldn't understand you at first.
Yeah. And I mean, queen c4 here is just over because he doesn't have any troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah, both are mating the same kings, exactly. King, and there we go. Dreamer sees it. And that is game 6. Wow, Dreamer claps back. Very, very well done. Like, I mean, I was... after the E4 game that ended day 1 of games, where Ryan really did show incredible, like, understanding and presence of mind, like, such confidence with E4. It was just, like, a crushing game. Dreamer immediately challenges the idea. He comes back, he accepts the gambit, if you can call it that, and he takes his first game with black, bringing the score up to 4-2 now. Dreamer has done it for the first game of 3, but he still needs to win 2 more in a row, first with the white pieces, as we'll see in the next game, then with the black, in order to take this to tiebreakers. I wonder to what extent, in Ryan's mind, this was kind of a throwaway game, where like E4 worked once, you're not necessarily super confident about it, but it worked once, and so like why not just try it again, even though you have to think maybe Dreamer has given it some thought after losing, especially as Dreamer, who is like the last person that we would ever let live down a loss against E4. Sirtis has his own theories saying they are both bad then, which is crazy, talking about the 2 contenders for the 5D Chess World Championship, but okay.
I don't know. Because, you know,
I can't remember the first E4 game off the top of my head right now, but it certainly like most of the stuff like played actually looks like fairly natural, especially the bishop e6, and then like I think the setup. Just the whole setup with queen d7, bishop e6 just made a lot of sense, because you just keep everything under control. Yeah, eventually it was white that had to deal with like the pawn on e4, because you never really got the diagonal. You had to put your pieces defensively, and yeah, from there, after you got the bishop pair, it just looked like a pretty straight up, yeah, choked out victory.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your generosity. And here we go. Okay, we're going into round 7 of the 2023 5D Chess World Championship match against Ryan and defending champion Dreamer. Here we go. It's got to be said.
You just said we're going into the match against Ryan. That's a statement. I guess we kind of are, because if Dreamer takes this one, we get more games.
That's what I'm saying. Who doesn't want Ryan to lose the next 2 games so that we see as much 5D chess as we possibly can? That's what I'm talking about. Here we go. Okay, so it's been tumultuous. If we see Dreamer go for knight of 3 c4, a 4th white game in a row, I don't know what to believe, man. I don't know what to think.
It's the 3rd white game, right?
No, this is the 4th white game. Well, Dreamer with the white pieces for the 4th time, that is. That is an incredible emote. Is this the only... Has anyone else played Dreamer recently? Does he even do c4 like in regular rated games?
The last thing, he was gone like...
Oh, thank God we see d4, because c4 has been a bit of a mess.
So he went, after he put out his video, and then he came back to play, you know, in the Blitz, you know, the anniversary Blitz tourney, and then he didn't play, at least publicly, again.
So this is interesting. Both players rattling off this opening in ways that surprised me. So queen c2 immediately after c3 is surprising to me. And then seeing g6 back makes a lot of sense for this reason. The queen losing a quick little tempo there, moving to c2 before b3, and I'm not sure what to make of this. I don't know why Ryan was so ready for the immediate queen c2. I wonder if it was... What do you think the odds are that it was a misclick and that Dreamer wanted queen b3?
No,
I think this is intentional. Like, this is actually like fairly like a very, very normal chess position as well. Queen b6 is a little bit is a little bit odd, but I guess it makes sense in
A little bit odd.
5D sense.
Yeah, in the 5D sense. But why would you allow, even in regular chess, like the development of the light square bishop for free there and the loss of tempo with
I don't
with the
know about
queen?
the
No,
rank.
I don't mean the move sequence. I just mean the position type. Like this is a very normal structure. Like
Oh,
where
sure.
Black usually in these positions, Black usually has to go Queen C8 to avoid the double pawns. But I mean, in 5D, it of course doesn't matter. Like,
This
if anything,
invites
it's better.
G6, I guess, says Los, which I mean, I guess is true, but it's difficult to capitalize if you don't have the queen anyway, right? Dreamer misclicked and played D4 instead of C4. I mean, this just looks... I don't know how this looks, man. I'm so confused.
Okay, so can I answer?
Please, please.
Yeah, it's not like, it's super free tempo because Dreamer had to play G6 and
Ryan had to play G6.
Oh yeah, okay. I don't know why. I guess like whoever I'm rooting for, I automatically think that I'm,
I
rooting for
see.
his.
Wait, so are you rooting for Ryan or Dreamer here?
Right now, no. Right now, I switched to rooting for Dreamer
Okay. We're on the same page.
because before I was rooting for Ryan, even though it's lame. The first game, but because it's just, I don't know. For me, Ryan seems like a little bit closer in playing style, so it's easier.
It's like Ryan goes for 1 and Andre takes off his Dreamer cap and switches it. to
Oh, hey,
to
okay, so
Ryan
this is
Chestnut.
interesting. So we have both Nikita and Sirtis, who are two, quite experienced and good players of the game, claiming that Queen C2 is a clear mistake for white, and then Maurer, on the other hand, saying that at least against him, Dreamer has played this queen maneuver with some frequency. So I don't know what to make of it.
What I will say about this, what's a little bit different than from some of the other Queen B3 games we've seen so far, is that in this position, if Black goes for Fianchetto, which looks natural now that the G6 has been played, there might be some Queen A3 shenanigans looking at E7.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Even like sometimes like the immediate Bishop D6.
Schmancy.
Yeah, so G6 wasn't really like a clear winning of a tempo because for that G6 would have to be a useful move, and for that Black would have to play Bishop G7.
Okay, so I mean, you think that that's like enough of a weakness in the
this
position
looks
that it could be
stable for
worth baiting.
Black.
No, yeah, kind of, because like to prove that this was like not a useful move, Black would have to play Bishop G7.
Right. Interesting. It's this move, and I'm glad Dreamer agrees, that I'm always lost. It's like, what do you do here? Is the play E3? And if not, what else do you do? Besides maybe like H3, but then that, I don't know. I never know how to make a plan from this
There's some
point
options,
forward.
yeah. I think. I
Wait,
think in this-
actually, E4 might be something.
Come on, man. Ooh,
Because
okay.
like D5 pawn is slightly pinned.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably E3 or knight E5 here would be the way to go, because you don't really want to go G3 here, because you're just gonna be staring down the pawn chain.
Yeah, for sure. I agree that I would have played E3, but the early 95 is interesting.
It does like take a defender off of F2, so now you have to be a little bit careful when you want to move your bishop.
True.
Yeah, put some pressure. Like now the if Black goes Queen G7, like Queen A3 becomes a serious threat.
If Black goes Queen G7,
Bishop G7, so
right. I'm with you. I mean, next turn you're going Knight F3 as white, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Wait, Lowe's is actually pointing out an interesting detail here. Like, if you take the knight now, I guess you don't really want to take with the pawn because it opens up the diagonal. But if you take with the bishop, then
if you
F2
take
is
with the
also-
bishop, yeah, that's actually a great point.
Oh, but well, bishop travel to f2 is not lethal, right?
With
You
the
can just-
queen out of position right now, yes. Oh, especially
You
because
can just play king g1 after bishop travels.
yeah, you also can just play knight f3 and then that cuts off the travel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I
Bishop
think so.
g7. Hold on, let's see. Bishop g7, knight d7, knight d7, queen b6, a takes b, bishop e3.
But bishop
But
just
why? Why would you do all that?
If white gets the knight f3 after this is certainly a win. But I think either way, like even if you don't have a tactic, you probably should consider taking this off. Because I mean, it's not like your knight on d7 is doing anything anyway.
I mean, that's a good point. The knight on d7 is there to trade into a more useful piece.
The thing is, there might be problems with knight takes d5 because knight takes d5, bishop takes. We might be threatening bishop takes f6.
Yeah. So then you go bishop g7, I guess, but then
And
if he
going bishop
repopulates
G-
on f3,
Going bishop g7 looks very sketch because then even bishop travel to e7 is, you know.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a fair point. Yeah. Huh.
Like what I would be
Especially
looking
with
at
queen
here-
a3 on the board, right? Go ahead, Lexi.
Like if you so the point is if you don't take the knight here and you allow knight f3, you're certainly much worse as black.
Definitely.
And so if you have any way to simplify the position by, for example, trading queens, and then I don't know, play something like bishop h6 to kind of like solidify the position, that might be worth going for. Even though it's like you might still be slightly worse, but like in this position, you gotta be worried about knight f3. Completely
So actually,
shutting down.
like if you take and then try to, I propose then knight d5 bishop
Okay,
d5.
takes. Goes ahead and takes.
If knight d5 bishop d5 queen takes, we can take with the pawn and then we'll be threatening rook takes a7 actually.
Takes with the bishop. I agree. So now what do you... I mean, you here... Like, you must go queen g7, right? Because otherwise, what do you do? It's awkward for sure.
I mean, you can maybe do something like, I mean, I'm not entirely sure, but maybe something like bishop h6 followed
Knight
by
G4.
e5.
That's wild.
Nikita proposes knight g4 and Ryan also hovers over this, and I'm not sure I understand.
Knight g4. So the idea must be to coordinate a travel, like a defended travel onto f2, right? You're like all-inning on the idea
No,
of
but-
on defending f2?
Travel on f2 is not lethal, so it's not that.
Well, I mean, it can be pretty... Wow, it happens.
Okay.
So what's the
I
idea?
apparently they disagree.
Wait, but can't you trade queens here and then take the rook?
No, trading queens seems bad because if you trade queens, oh maybe it's okay. Maybe it's fine for white. Oh, it must be something
Wait, you don't
else.
want to trade queens as white here because you want to get like what would be wrong if you trade queens and then take the rook? Then that gets you one move closer to the bishop travel going
Oh, yeah,
onto a
I-
defended f2, right?
Actually, okay. I think I see that how the travel wins.
I mean,
So
you
bishop
take with the
takes
bishop and then you go e3 with the knight, and that's mate.
Oh, okay. I'm dumb. Okay.
Okay, we're on the same page.
But also, even before the knight was on g4, there is actually a way to win. Oh no. Okay, no. Sorry, I'm a bit tired today.
No worries.
No, so
no worries.
if you go bishop back, yeah, you're too slow.
From doing absolutely nothing the whole day.
I guess you.
Wait, bishop back meaning g3? That seems like it's bad.
So the travel is forcing, right?
The travel seems forcing unless you can prevent it, which you could do with like g4 after you take the rook.
F4.
Knight g4, knight f3, knight e5 sucks. So
I guess this is a very interesting game.
bishop g3 can't be good. I agree with you. But you also have to worry about, like, with the bishop on h8, you have a few turns before, like, a bishop travel onto the bishop on f8 is actually annoying because it forces a king move, but then you can play, like, you can take the queen
Yeah,
on the new
Lowe's-
timeline, so, like, that seems really bad, too, for black.
Lowe's proposes long castles.
Long castles.
It's not even, completely,
I play f3 and hang mate in 1. Amazing. Okay, so here's what you have to remember as white is your next move will be the first board on which f2 is being attacked by the knight, right? So that board position is the one that you are then having to deal with from the future.
Oh, or maybe what if... Oh, no, okay. Sorry. Okay. You can go on.
Okay.
I just wanted to say what if King D1, but then I immediately saw takes F2.
Oh, King D1, yeah, and then takes f2, and then you're sad. Okay, so here, I mean, I guess if you're Dreamer, you're doing the math of like, bishop takes h8, and that, but what about, well, no, that's losing anyway, so never mind.
What about something like queen a3? And then maybe in some lines threatening queen takes? e7?
Yeah, but queen a3, and then you're not giving your opponent, you're not disrupting his plan of the travel onto f2
No,
in
but
any
then you
way,
also
right?
have a Jurassic.
Yeah, but he's not going to travel immediately. He wants to travel in 3 turns so that he can go back to the board that will appear as soon as white makes a move, where f2 is attacked by the knight, so that you have the mating threat.
Also, maybe a bit of a weird move, but like maybe there's something like C4 to just defend E3.
So my issue is I don't really see a move for white that
Oh, no,
would
no,
be
no.
like also okay on 0L and also like defending it. So I think you sort of have to look for like some long-term
Here's the
ideas.
thing, why not? Because your bishop move, if you take the rook on h8 with the bishop on e5, when black makes a travel, it's 2 turns away, so you'd need the knight on f3. Never mind. Okay, what I was gonna say doesn't end up working, but you do travel because you're only traveling 2 turns in the past, whereas black is traveling 3 turns in the past. I think you get a travel onto f8 before
Yeah, you do, but it's
black
one-
gets a travel onto f2.
You mean before the soft mate?
Yeah, sorry, before the soft mate. You have a
Okay.
mate before the soft mate, right?
No, it's actually not even that. Because if you had the same length travels, like imagine the same length travels,
Yeah,
then
sure.
you land half move after, and then you would land half move before the soft mate, and this way you land half move after.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
think if my brain still works.
Oh, wait. But on your board where you're aggressing, you can also play knight f3, and that defends f2 on the other board as like an intermezzo because he's forced to like make moves so that he doesn't immediately lose the game, right? So
I
you
have
can actually
another-
defend with f3 on your aggressive board as white to cover f2 on his aggressing board.
I'm not
I-
sure
I
what
also-
we're talking about. I don't think you're in time.
I also
Okay.
I have another idea. Like we might be entering like desperation mode. But what about something like knight c4, threatening, and basically trying to open up the file?
Oh, knight
Just get
c4.
some immediate counterplay in.
Dude, I think knight c4, queen takes b3,
If you
and
take on
then
b3, you then
a
give a
takes
knight check.
b3.
No, you give a knight check, and then after the pawn takes, you take with the pawn, and if it then wait, no, never mind, you lose the bishop too soon. Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
you
you're
lose
right.
the bishop just too soon. Yeah,
I was thinking there might be some rook takes.
it's a good idea. Yeah,
Rook takes a7 while the bishop is checking tricks, but I guess that's not.
yeah. That's cute.
I mean, it's a tough spot for white. Like I guess you either like have to take on h8 and pray, or go for some.
I mean, either way, you really have to do the math here, right?
I mean, maybe long castles is the best move. Like,
Dude, that can't be. I mean, it might be actually. But okay, so long castles, and then you fork the kings. But then you take, the rooks, rather, my bad. But then you travel onto... Oh, no, because the king is on c1. Wait, that might actually be fine. Never mind. Long castles might be the best bet here. No,
Yes.
long
That's like-
castles probably forces knight takes the bishop on e5. Because otherwise, if you take the rook... No, maybe rook g8 after long castles. I can't believe long castles look sensible.
Someone's playing some more entanglement chess, where pieces can be nice or rooks. Yes.
Yeah. Oh man. Wow, this is I really
Okay.
hope that this doesn't just like happen to work out better for Ryan and Dreamer goes for what he set up, but he loses because he's too slow, and then that's what determines the end of the series. I really
no,
want
I
that
think
again.
like if you spend this much time at this point, I'm pretty sure you're looking for damage control rather than like having, because if he found any decent move by now, he would have played it. So I think right now he's just looking at what's the least worse, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm?
No, wait. Hold on. If you play knight f3 and then knight takes e5 and then knight takes e5, then because you played knight f3... Oh, no. Yeah, no, there's only... Oh, no, you're still screwed because you don't... as immediately taking the knight off means that... But then there's no... Okay, so you could survive if you did knight f3, knight takes e5, knight takes e5... something, and then f4 would prevent the travel to the board where the knight is threatening on f2, which doesn't look
Yeah.
great but gets you out of the pickle.
No, knight f3 looks sensible, and it will not have to play f4 actually there, because there is now no knight to threaten e3.
Why?
anymore. Like if it takes on e5.
No, because you can still go to the board with the bishop immediately after knight f3 is played here. Because if the knight takes on e5 the next turn,
Oh, yeah.
then it opens up the travel to exactly the board we're looking at here, but with the knight on f3 instead, which would still be mate. Like if there was a bishop on f2 on this board after the knight went to f3, then you still have the knight e3 mate.
Yeah, okay.
So the attack still works unless you play f4.
Oh,
Okay,
and
and we
that's-
see knight f3.
right.
Okay, wow.
So Semet's dreamer confirmed.
Okay.
You don't even look at this.
Dude, what would be the implications of Semet is dreamer confirmed?
That you are a dreamer.
Nikki, okay, yeah, and then we see the right. We see this. Nikita says f4 too late because black can queen b3. Oh, queen b3 does
But
mean that
maybe
it's too late.
maybe there is some Jurassic rook ideas.
After queen a3.
Just f4 earlier. Too bad this took 10 minutes. This did take 10 whole minutes. That's gotta be said. But wait, you have one more turn before... No, f4 is in time? No. Queen b3 here, I think, is the play.
Yeah, I think Dreamer will have to bank on Jurassic rook. And, it's not the worst bet, because Ryan is kind of notorious.
Wait, what are you talking about? If queen takes queen here, isn't the knight blocking in time?
No, the knight doesn't, but because the knight just moved here, so we have this turn where f3 is unblocked, so the bishop here can go to the previous turn on f2.
Oh, you don't mean immediately?
Yeah, not immediately. So here you have one turn to like kick the knight, and now f4 is forced, which is bad because it also loses the knight. And then the bishop travels onto f2 on the board where the knight was on f2. So here I think you have to prepare a Jurassic or be some super genius.
I mean, you can always be some super genius, but it will save you from losing.
Wait, that's okay. So here he's saying, I don't believe in your travel, or I refuse to acknowledge that I've lost the game already.
I mean, it accomplishes the same thing, right?
No,
F4?
because... at this point, yes, that's actually a good point. Because, hold on. Boom, boom.
Bishop can travel already.
Yeah, bishop can travel now to the turn where the bishop... Exactly, this. This is what he was planning. And you had to set up a Jurassic here. So otherwise, you're pretty screwed. Maybe Dreamer didn't see or didn't... if you think about the previous move, about knight f3 for 10 minutes, you're looking at this travel. But Dreamer didn't set up a Jurassic or like anything that can defend. So I don't know. In fact, he doesn't have any travel here. He just missed this. There's literally no recompense. His bishop can't travel. This is GG. Like, there's nothing Dreamer can do besides hope that Ryan's computer crashes or has a heart attack or something. Because, like, knight e3 now just wins. There's nothing. Exile the king? You can't.
Well, technically you can, but it will not solve your problem.
No, because the mate happens on the next turn, so you have to travel from the original timeline. Even an exile doesn't... Well, it wouldn't be an exile.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
You can exile. No, you can't. Because it's
Oh,
the exile.
yeah. Physically you can do that, but it will not do anything.
Travel
exile
this
from
turn, you get a
computer.
timeline. Everywhere that you travel that gives you a timeline and a turn on which the timeline is relevant, your opponent has a check.
Yes.
You can now exile technically. You get a timeline, you get a mate, says Nikita. Wow.
I receive, you receive.
Trade offer? I receive a world championship?
You receive a timeline.
Wow, absolutely brutal. Dreamer now wondering what he spent his 10 minutes on.
Who would have thought after 3 years of 5D chess the decisive game ends on an f2 sack?
Yeah.
It's
It's not a sack.
What did you do?
Oh yeah, it's not a sack, Lexi, so relax.
It's a timeline sack?
You sack a timeline. Did he take this timeline? Yeah, okay, so this is basically only move. And it's in me because he doesn't have the travel. Wow. Wow. GG. Dreamer not able to take the 3 games in a row that he needs. Ryan is now finally up 5 games in the best of 8 series, meaning that our new 5D chess world champion has just been crowned. Ryan, after an incredible series, every one of these games I think was a joy to watch. Even round 5, which was perhaps the most baffling, was undeniably very high level play by both players. And here we are. You know, series. There we go. Hey, Dreamer. Wow, well played that entire series. What, I can't think of a more you know, intense like series of games for like, first of all, what, Dreamer, were you feeling going into the last round there? Ryan, hi, we can hear you finally. Your mic is working.
Okay, good.
Yeah, give me a second to ask Dreamer what's going through his mind.
You mean the last game specifically?
Well, I mean, just tell us how you're feeling. The floor is open, really. Anything that you want to get off of your mind or your chest. I just want to hear anything about you guys from your perspective, because we've been speculating for, you know, 2.5 hours now about like what's been going through your mind, and it'd be refreshing to just hear what was going through your mind at any point.
Yeah, of course. Well, speaking about the situation, it was really bad. Of course, I had to push quite rapidly. Don't waste any time for stupid, silly moves like I did before. I think that was the main mistake from mine. And yeah, that fourth game I think was a crucial one. I was thinking I had a great advantage, at least an initiative. Maybe I just overpushed just a bit and missed that knight f4 move. Of course, it was very unpleasant. I was deciding between g3 and g4 at that time. And I was thinking like knight e5 would be the reply, knight d7 to e5. And then I would be fine, but knight f4 straight just fell out of my mind. The big diagonal just made its influence in the game, I think. And it was really hard to get off of it for me.
Right, yeah, no, that's exactly what we were talking about. That game, it looked like it started off really well, and then that pivotal like knight f4 that really turned it around. But until then, it looked like you had so much space. We were thinking, by the way, about like knight b4, like right out of the opening after the queen trade, because Ryan rattled off knight a6, but then neither of you seemed worried about the knight
we've
b4.
actually played that. We've played that line in the Blitz tournament, me and Dreamer,
Yeah,
I believe.
exactly.
And
Oh,
I was
okay.
I was on the other side, and he played knight b4, and I played rook b1. And if you play knight c2 there, I believe you just play king d1, and it's better for white.
Wow,
so Dreamer
really?
Dreamer just went back. But
Yeah,
that could be
basically,
wrong.
I remember it.
So yeah, we were both aware of that.
Okay, wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's good. Well, okay, so knowing that, what was the, I mean, you rattled off knight a6 without ever,
It's just because it forces a3, which
Right.
is, you know, a meh move. So that was all. And then maybe the knight goes to c5.
okay, that's what we thought, which is crazy. So right at the end there in the last game, I guess I want to ask about the, right, so there was that whole bishop, there was that bishop travel onto the board where the knight was attacking f2, and playing knight f3 would have been okay with the trading for the knight takes the bishop on e5 and then the knight takes the bishop again if you could play f4, but of course you had like the intermezzo queen takes on b3, and so I was trying to figure out if Ryan, did you just think that there was no merit to the bishop taking the rook and then having a travel onto the bishop on f8 and then on that
No, there
timeline?
wouldn't be a travel. It's not in time.
Yeah, I think it would be losing taking the rook.
You think so? Oh, there wouldn't be
Yeah.
a travel in time? Because it only goes
Yes,
2 turns
yes.
into the past, whereas the
Yes,
bishop travels 3 turns into the past.
Yeah. Because if you had the same length travel, you would land, you know, a half turn before the soft mate. But because the travel is one move less, you land one move after the soft mate. One half.
Oh, right. Okay, no, I understand now. That makes sense. Wait, but you still can take and then takes, and then your knight after the takes, the knight on e3 could be taken by a knight on f3. Oh, both of them are one turn after, so maybe you're right. Okay, sorry, never mind.
It's just like you even land the travel after the soft mate.
I see what you're saying.
I
Okay.
wanna ask a question about the second last game. I mean, I'm always a fan of seeing e4 openings, obviously. but was this something both of you were looking at? Because it feels like both of you blitzed out some moves there. But then as it turned out, Black actually had a decent space advantage with the pawn. Like, can you give some color on what?
Yeah, so I've been analyzing e4 quite a bit, and so Dreamer, as far as I can tell, the line Dreamer played is the best line, and Black is a little bit better. And I played worse, even worse after that, and so it all went downhill. But yeah, I was hoping that he wouldn't know that line, and I wouldn't play e4 again, knowing that he has that.
Right. It makes sense that after with 3 games to play around with and e4 working the first time around, I guess it makes sense to push for an advantageous position and,
Took a quick glance 1 hour prior to the games at this line.
Oh, wow, okay.
It certainly paid off, and brought us back into the series a little bit. So that was kind of nice to see.
Yeah, that was really hype. Dreamer dealt with it pretty surgically too. After like Queen e2, with the ideas of, like h5, bishop g4, and then you've got like the queen diagonal. Yeah, that looked pretty rough pretty early on.
Playing h4 was terrible because that just invites h5.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to ask. I mean, it's not like you had other moves, I guess, though, right? Like in that position.
I should have just played h3 and chilled, and then, as long as you're really solid, sometimes, your opponent will get low on time and maybe make a mistake. But yeah, it was definitely a bad position.
That makes a lot of sense.
After h4, I was looking at something like bishop g5.
Yes.
Which opens queen to e4, and I guess you can trade there. And
I was looking at that, seemed suspicious though.
But letting play bishop g4 and just giving up the light squares was a really bad mistake, I think.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Dreamer, as a result, were you in the last game? Did you like not believe in the bishop f2 travel, or because you had a hope of potentially just Jurassicing, setting up a Jurassic the turn of the bishop travel, and then trying to defend from the from the past with like a knight on f3 or something like that? Were you looking at some other threats, or did you like just not evaluate it as like lethal on the board without giving yourself a prior travel?
I'm not that a specialist of Jurassic, so I was just minding one timeline at the moment. And I guess I just probably miscalculated the timing of the travel. Because after knight g4, after some time I realized that after the travel, knight to e3 would be the devastating check. And so I was spending too much time there. And I was disliking the fact that Ryan's bishop could come to h6 and just play on that diagonal.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Also, it was too late to go. Well, you could go for a Jurassic, but I played f6 so that I could take the knight on e5 if he did go for a Jurassic. So
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Lexi Andre, do you have other questions?
Yeah. Like I remember one thing. Someday Ryan said something like, "When I win the world championship, I will, put out a video, some, videos, or was it videos like some, material about 5D chess."
Yes, so I do have a plan for that, but it's all secret for now, though.
Okay. Why would this necessitate you first winning the world championship?
Oh, we can't
because
let
the video would be
Dreamer
titled
have my
by-
secrets.
Oh no,
Exactly.
okay, that's fair. No, I got you. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, the first game looked like you were playing Head and Brain, and your brain is trolling you, Ryan.
Yeah, with the
Oh,
night,
that's-
like 8 night moves in a row.
Yeah, I didn't feel too bad about it though. I mean, they looked silly, but I didn't see a way for it to go downhill, at least in the short term.
Okay.
But I wasn't on the back foot and replied with 3 bishop moves.
Well,
make it
okay,
level.
that's true. Yeah, you gave each other back the tempo. I mean, it looks like Dreamer was potentially going to smother with all of those like pawns. He was like threatening the 4th rank Connect 4, but then until the sort of pieces moved around and overextended a bit, and Dreamer dropped back his bishop, and then like Knight of 4 happened. It looked
Yeah, I
quite
was
sketchy.
planning to steadily grab the space, but again, letting that Knight f4 move just broke down all my plans.
Yeah. Oh, in the
always-
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's what always happens. Like if you play ambitiously with trying to grab spaces, that you often are left with so many options of like different pawn breaks because you control so much space in center that it's very easy to like slip up and if you make like one bad move, then suddenly all your stuff's open again, which is kind of what we saw with the long diagonal opening up after after the pawns moved, and then just one little oversight of the Knight f4, and that just broke the neck.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, and moreover, moving those pawns that far just backfired, I guess. Because after Ryan landed his bishop on e5, my pieces just become blocked into their own garden.
Recently, I've not been too scared of having a space disadvantage because it's so easy for your opponent to make a pawn move which just leaves a lot of holes. So even in the
Yet
in the
you
other
play
games,
e4.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Also,
I mean, if the other guys have a space disadvantage, that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
but
I love
like,
having
okay,
a space advantage, but I also don't mind having a space disadvantage.
I see.
okay, so I remember something. I remember one of 100 questions that I wanted to ask. So before the match, Ryan, you said that you have prepared like a lot of bad lines and one good line.
Yes.
Which was the good line?
Yeah, E4 was the good line.
Oh, E4 was the good
And
line.
also the bad line.
Well, it's bad now, but it was good at the time.
I mean, okay, that's
It worked one time and it was enough.
yeah, that's all it had to do, I guess.
It was a one-timer.
Wow. In the very last game, Ryan, Dreamer had the opportunity, like instead of on Knight f3, to actually like doing a queenside castle. Had you thought about that at all? Because it looked like it was holding.
I wasn't looking at queenside castling at all.
All right. I was just curious if you had like a plan for that. Because Tones mentioned it and I thought, wait, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Because then you have to respond to the bishop. And if you take it with the knight, then that removes the threat. And then your pieces are potentially like mispositioned. It looked kind of weird. But okay. Wow.
You mean after knight g4, just castling?
Yeah, queenside, exactly.
Yeah, it was not on my radar. Might be good.
All right. What were the other... Wait, Lexi, what were the questions that you wanted us to keep track of from, like, the very beginning of the day? We had a few more, right?
Remember, that's why I asked you to remember that.
Okay. Thanks. Well, we did ask them about night before. I remember that was a thing.
I have a question. Would you like to face off again in other variants at some points, or do you think it's set in stone now that it's always going to be T0?
Oh, yeah, the format of the actual series. What did you guys think about all T0 matches?
I guess T0 just makes more sense because actually 5D chess is about chess, and as we remember, chess are played in like a standard position, starting position, and introducing.
Is that
Well,
a
there is.
subtle-
Yeah,
is
go on.
that a subtle princess advertising?
Exactly. Only if we change to princess. I'm up to play like 100 games.
Okay,
in a row.
cut that part out of the video.
Yeah, I'll edit that out.
You know what's funny? In one, at some point, like during the year, I was rewatching, the last World Championship, and at the very end, Samet asks some questions, and Dreamer starts talking about Princess, and then it just slowly fades out. With Dreamer continuing to talk about Princess. It was very comedic. I don't know, it's intentional.
Thank you for highlighting my editing, subtle editing.
In fact, it's
sorry, go ahead.
it's Lexi to be blamed for that hate on Prince, because there was only a single game he played where he got Jurassic, and that didn't really matter, was it Princess or any variant.
Yeah.
It could be like any variant, but
Yeah,
it just happened to be Princess, and he went like never playing.
Dude, he was
Princess.
malding. It's funny. He
And
ended
everyone
his
picked
stream.
that
He was literally like, "This is bullshit. Like, I can't believe." He was like, "Oh, I lost like 3 viewers. I know, when I'm making bad content, and it's all because this variant is like a scourge on the earth." I'll never forget that.
Okay, I
day.
mean, thanks for watching the 5D Chess World Champion. Everyone.
No, before we get
Next year,
off of
you assholes.
off of this question, Ryan, about the format, how do you feel about all T0?
I think I would prefer one additional variant. I think this championship went very well
Princess.
because we no. This one went very well because we had lots of opening variety, so it was very interesting, but that might not always be the case. So I think having like half turn 0, half defended pawn could be my ideal format, I think.
everyone is pitching for their.
I'd like to hear about that.
Well, yeah,
play
Ryan
instead
sponsored by Lexi.
Instead of turn 1.5, we can play turn 100, I guess. That would make more sense.
You just want to play chess with extra steps?
Yes, exactly,
No,
because
it's
I'm
not
suffering a
possible.
lot from F2 sacks.
It's not chess with extra step. It's chess with multi-western travel without multi-western travel, which is different.
Yeah. No, it
Chess
is
with all
obviously
chips.
different, yeah. But wow, that's funny. I mean, hey, it's an interesting variant for as much as we talk about it. I don't think that everyone's proposed all sorts of, like no rush first 10 minutes type of rule sets. But what about you don't get to make a timeline rule sets? Have people played this?
I
Is it
think
something like introducing a grace period to chess?
Not just a grace period, but I mean, literally, you can't make a timeline, but you still obviously have like in the past checks, but you're only allowed to play single timeline. I don't think that we've really experimented with
You are
that.
not allowed to cross the middle of the board.
Yeah, well, actually, Mage's engine is exactly for that game. I think.
Oh, okay. Mage built it. That makes sense.
But I'm not sure about that.
Los has asked a question here in the chat to Dreamer about why you tried C4 over and over and over and over again. Like, what was your how did you feel about how the C4 matches played out, and like why did you try it again this turn after the last C4 match didn't pan out so well? What were your thought processes? Have you been playing a lot of it? Did you have prep? Were you just the most comfortable? You thought that it just got you to a decent end game the quickest?
Well, to be honest, I got sick and tired of D4 variants because these lines are just getting dull over and over, and it's really difficult to find a good plan there. So I just took a glance on the C4, and I think there are a lot of potential like ideas right off the opening, and I guess it still benefits a bit more to white, because as far as I looked at these lines, there are just so many different ideas for it. I guess better to play for attacking style and no silly F2 sacks.
I mean, fair enough. That checks out. Los from last week was pretty adamant that he had done a lot of looking into C4 and that it always ended up being like slightly black favored out of the opening. But I mean, I don't know how much credence we can ever give to any understanding of like theory for 5D
Well,
chess.
it's like a double-edged sword, I guess. Both sides can play for the advantages that they can find along the game.
Right. Oh, about the actually right. The C2 followed by B3. The Queen C2 before Queen B3, which kind of loses a tempo except for the fact that it forces Black to play G6. Can you tell me anything about like how your conception of that opening?
I used to play that line just a couple times before, and in some lines that G6 move just really disturbs the position of Black, and it blocks the bishop on f5, I guess, and some like moves like a knight h4, I guess, would be possible. But the line which was played in the game wasn't about that.
Right. How do you feel, Ryan?
I was actually also analyzing that Queen C2 line, and I was planning to play it. And my plan was that after G6, I would play E4, and then that didn't work. Then I thought, why do I need to play Queen C2? I'll just play E4 immediately. So that's actually how the E4 line was born.
I see. Okay, interesting.
And I remember analyzing it exactly like that. Like you're just looking for when can I play E4?
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any more questions, or can we move on to David's sort of like?
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think I have probably two questions. So one question is, when can I get your Elo?
Amazing. Are these matches rated, by the way? Does anyone know?
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I think what
so
Andrew is
wrong.
trying to ask is, what kind of advice would you get young aspiring 5D chess players, and will we still see you grinding on the ladder and competing?
Yeah. That's what. Will you? Because both of you kind of took some sort of a break. Well, Ryan had to, play through the brackets, and Dreamer went,
Dormant.
I guess it actually backfires that I didn't play any games prior to this match.
Who would have thought?
It's like Magnus says for like the Classical World Championship, how the defending champ should also have to qualify for the, through like the candidates tournament or whatever.
Yeah, because in the first game I was looking at the board and be like, what do I do now?
So yeah, because like now there is, Nikita, and it just looks very lonely for Nikita because, I am right now also I'm just sad from losing to QQQ. So I want to, recollect my thoughts, and so it's just like very lonely on the leaderboard. So.
Yeah, so can we see you, grinding a little bit of Elobot in the future, Dreamer, or do you think that you'll continue taking a bit of a break?
I was planning to retire from 5D chess, in fact.
Okay, well, what about like now that you've seen the result of the series? Like, has that changed your mind?
Yeah, of course I can't let Ryan choose a color for his nickname.
Ryan, you've saved 5D chess by winning series or game 7 of this series. Congratulations.
I had no idea the stakes were that high.
Yeah, neither did I.
That was the only thing I was playing for.
Wow.
My personal color, no.
So if Ryan lost, then you would have retired, and then next year, then Ryan could be champion forever because you would be retired.
Well, he was gonna pull a Magnus. He was gonna be like,
Yes.
Yeah, second and third place can vie for the world championship.
But Magnus doesn't have, so Magnus stakes are not that high because the Discord color is not.
Oh, that's true. Okay, that's a great point. Okay, Los has another question. He remembers Dreamer going for D3, D6 lines in the past. Is there any reason that you didn't try them for any of the games this match?
D3, D6?
D3/D6. Those are Los's words. Don't ask me.
It's at what line exactly?
Not
Not right from the opening, I guess. Like knight f3.
I don't know.
E3?
Do you mean E3, E6? Probably not, because he pressed the D button twice. Oh, can we get Ryan versus Dreamer in Chess Evolved Online? Probably with handicap is Narik's question.
I was planning on that like 2 years ago. when
Really?
Ryan just- yeah.
Oh, that's so
You can even find my message where I'm asking Ryan to play normal chess, 5D chess, and chess evolved.
Oh wait, that would have been so good. That's such a great best
Yeah,
of three.
but by the way, do you know that Dreamer was in the CEO Discord
Wait,
before it was mainstream?
Dreamer
Okay.
was? I
No,
do
no,
have
okay.
the CEO Discord messages pulled up right now, like the
Okay,
screenshots of them.
Apparently it's a secret, so never mind. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, he says the
Believe.
C3, D3 lines instead of D4.
At least as for white, I didn't play C3, D3. I don't remember.
Okay.
At some point, I was playing it as black and only as an answer to knight f3. Oh, e3, knight f3, c4.
Oh,
Just to avoid taking on d5 and some other scam following.
right. Okay, Tones asks how we can make this tournament last less than 8 months. And I don't know what he means because this was clearly the 2023 5D Chess World Championship. Okay, I think this is as good a time as any to bring in this screenshot, which will go down in history surely. Hold on, let me get... Okay, here we are. This is the Chess Evolved Online Discord from 2021. This is like 2 years ago now.
Oh yeah, it's actually it's not a screenshot; it's a compilation of screenshots.
It is a compilation of screenshots. So David asks if anyone in the
different
CEO
servers.
Discord plays 5D chess. And then some people say that 5D is way too aggressive, too many paths to checkmate, really hard to stop them all.
Did you see the second message? My genius contribution.
Oh no, okay, we have a sleeper agent Andre here playing for the 5D pieces. We're less toxic, I think. I don't want to make this conversation about that. However, suddenly everyone from the 5D Discord comes in. And then says that Ryan says that he'd like to complain about how 5D chess costs money. And then Narik proposes a cross-community event where the top 5D chess player and top Chess Evolved player play each other in both games, which unfortunately never ended up happening, but I think would be fun. And then Ryan says, yo, there's a 5D chess world championship going on. Why was I not notified? Sorry?
Scroll up again to the guy who said that the game is bad and their community is bad.
Yeah, our community is awful and your game is awful, which is quite funny and self-aware but wrong.
Yeah, and then like some other guy replied, at least you are proving half of your point.
That's actually pretty good. All right. This is like 5. If we had like eval bar here, this would be like mistake and then like great move or brilliancy. And then we have, yo, there's a 5D chess world championship going on. Why was I not notified?
And then I got scammed.
And
Because
then
they renamed it to anniversary.
Then
Yeah.
he got baited by the Steam charts before the game went down to like 10 players at a time.
yeah, looks like this tournament is no longer the world championship and the true championship will happen later this year. And then there's so much nonsense in CEO. I think it's time to fully switch to 5D. I'm a 5D main
Little did
now,
he know.
despite having played 0 games. And look at us now. It has been exactly 2 years and 2.5 weeks since this day. Well, pretty much exactly 3 weeks. We need eval bar for conversations. There's actually a subreddit called Texting Theory that basically does that. I don't want to get into that right now. But wow, history really sort of writes itself, huh? The narratives are all right there. All we have to do is dig up 2-year-old screenshots. But that's a lot of fun. I mean, listen, where do we go from here? Ryan, what are your thoughts now, having played out this series? Like, what are you going to be doing? What are your next goals for 5D chess or whatever else? Are you going to be retiring? Will we see you on the Elo bot? What's going on with you?
Trying to play a few games. I've got some tournaments coming up in 2D chess that I have to prepare for, but I'll definitely make some videos, or try to start making some videos on positional 5D chess stuff, so that there'll be more competition in the future.
Positional 5D chess.
What's your 2D elo at the moment?
That's like 2140.
Is that
will be
FIDE or
soon.
chess.com?
That's
Okay,
FIDE.
so you're still a 5D man.
Oh shit! There's still a 5D main. Dreamer, what's your FIDE, by the way? It's absurdly high as well, right?
I haven't played chess for a long time, like
Watching Stone
5 or
Oh,
6
what?
years.
Like, wait, what? That can't be true. You keep telling me about the tournaments that you go to.
No, I mean the over-the-board chess.
Oh,
like
I
I
see.
do play online from time to time, but
All right. Well, give me your peak elo then, which I'm sure you could catch up to really soon.
well, surprisingly, it's 70-42.
1742.
Yeah, but that was
I just
like
don't
6
believe
years
you.
ago.
All right.
Probably
Well, I
could
thought
be-
it-
No, he meant what's your online rating?
that's a secret.
Well, but I
Why?
think, I think
I will reveal it when we'll play a 2D tournament in our community.
That would actually be fun. I'd do a 2D tournament. in
but
our
I wonder
community.
what happens if I search Dreamer XD on VHS.
He just laughs.
I play for under another nickname.
No.
All right. Well, that's
Yeah,
pretty
for
cool.
every instance I have a different nickname.
Amazing.
Hmm.
I am
wait,
really. yeah.
wait. I have to know it because I'm grinding on Leechess sometimes. Have you played each other on Leechess without knowing it?
No,
I doubt it.
Definitely not. Because I used to spy on Ryan just before the match. and he was solving puzzles like 100 times in a row. I was like, yeah, but these guys.
That's mostly what I do.
Wait,
I-
what's your Leechess elo, Ryan?
It's like 2450 rapid.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Rapid? Oh my god.
Wait, what's your Leechess elo, Lexi?
It's like 2300 in Blitz.
Oh, okay, shit. Wait, in Blitz, you don't play Rapid on Leechess?
Oh,
You said no.
Yeah,
as
ain't
if
nobody
it
got
was-
time for that. You can play like 15 bullet games for
Dude, it's
one rapid
10
game.
plus. Oh, it's not even. Or is it 15 on
I play-
Leechess?
I play 15 plus 10 if I'm, trying to be serious.
Oh, okay, all right.
90 plus 30.
Imagine trying to
Go
be a good
half.
chess player.
Wow. Holy shit. Nikita, is that your rating?
Yeah, Nikita is very good at
Wait, he's also like 2100 FIDE? Oh my god. How am I'm surrounded by all these fucking nerds who are good at actual chess.
Let's Kim
That's the quantum
out of this call.
physicist.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not. You guys are too
yeah,
broken.
actually,
He brings
Imagine
down
being,
the
actu-
average.
imagine being
rating.
actually smart instead of just being good at a board game.
Yeah, but it does a lot of good that does me for content. I'd rather just win 5D chess games. This is bullshit. All right.
and also, actually, playing 5D chess makes you better at normal chess, crazily.
Well, yeah, it's the only
Very true.
It's the only regular chess training I've had in the last like 4 years.
No, but for me also, like, it makes me better, like, in other variants, which is crazy.
You guys have like double my online. I'm like 1500 on chess.com. I'm a struggler out here, giving up mate and once and stuff. Anyway.
I don't know if that's true for everyone. For me, it just made my already degenerate tactical style go even more degenerate.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're digressing here, but is there anything that anyone would like to say before we sign off here?
Why do I have
Okay.
fireworks outside? I lost the match. But they're still firing the fireworks.
Like they always do. Like,
What's your physics ELO, bro? What time control?
okay, I guess. Okay, first of
Just I did Smet like crying next to his $1 million fridge. being like, and I wish I was better at 5D.
Dude, honestly, like the time control would be so whack. It's depressive enough. I mean, I've been in grad school for 6 years, and I probably have like 2 more to go. So my time control is probably like 3 years plus 8 months or something, and I'm still like 1200. But anyway,
So you're saying you're flagging university?
dude, I'm flagging my PhD. Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I'm flagging everything in my life too.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
so
good night, everyone.
so one more question. So, would you say that 5D chess has advanced in this year?
Oh my god. If this is a chess battle advanced joke, I'm booting you from the call.
But how do
Yeah,
you know
the-
if it's a joke?
The chess battles have advanced for sure in 5D chess.
Okay, this is good to know because, like, from the outside perspective, it's hard to tell, like, whether the level has become big, higher.
No,
or...
I think that that's actually a fair question. Like, do you guys feel like it's substantially, like, do you feel like you from like a year ago plus or whatever would basically have the same experience playing this series versus you right now? Or do you think that there is like a landscape shift that you have to take into account?
I think there is definitely a shift because, like, back in 2 or 3 years when the game just came out, when I was younger, there was not so much theory, and we
The
had
grass
to,
was green.
yeah, we had to figure it out by ourselves, right, in the games. And somebody calls me on the phone. So Ryan, you can continue.
Okay.
I feel like now I have there's so much more theory, but I feel like I've at least looked at most of it. So
Right.
I've
Okay.
in search of finding new lines, I've spent so much time analyzing that I feel like I know, the reasons why most moves are bad and all that. So
Yeah.
theory is much more advanced, I think.
I have to say, this whole series was like a massive pleasure to watch, and like props to both of you. I have so much respect for just like the clear demonstration of like understanding, preparation, and also like presence of mind from both of you. I was like incredibly impressed by every single game. It was such a pleasure to watch. So like, just thanks for giving us just like the fantastic display. Like, it was a great show, and I think that you both should be super proud of like the 5D chess that you played today. Lexi, I think you wanted to say something. Oh, I thought I interrupted Lexi. Apparently I didn't interrupt Lexi, so never mind.
Okay, so actually, did we congratulate Ryan, or I don't even remember.
Well, congratulations to Ryan, our
Thank
new
you.
5D chess world champion for 2023. I mean, maybe it's too soon to say, but I can't wait for the next 5D chess world championship, which should start soon if it's going to take as long to finish as this one did. But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, but maybe it doesn't have to be like completely annual. Maybe it can actually like happen 1.5 years.
I don't know. I think that every year is
Every year. Okay.
fun and entertaining. Like I had a
But I
great time.
feel like there is little time for the leagues, and but I'm not, opposed to switching, sort of from the league to.
Yeah, the format will probably change. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to both players, but of course, especially Ryan for finally taking the title. Took him a little bit longer than 1 month after the screenshot, but
Yeah.
I mean, got there eventually. I think also contributed a lot to the quality of the game as a whole. And yeah, I mean, I can only speak for myself when it says when I say that, especially watching these last couple of matches certainly tickled my fancy again to maybe try out the game again, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same. So yeah, thanks to you guys for also keeping the game alive. Also thanks to Smet, of course, for keeping the community throughout the game alive and kicking all the time, and of course to the tournament organizers as well, who put a lot of thought and effort into organizing all this. And also shout out to, I think, Crazy, who's also come up with a
with a
real
trophy.
life trophy.
Oh my god, I almost forgot. I did say, okay, so Crazy Penguin at my behest designed a trophy for the 5D Chess World Champion that I will print out and assemble and sent to you, but I also feel bad because this isn't the first 5D Chess World Champion, like officially, I think is, you know, like a position to be like documented and celebrated. So I will also print one out for Dreamer for last year so that he has his trophy for being the first 5D Chess World Champion. In some ways, Lexi could argue that maybe he is the first 5D Chess World Champion, but we're not going to get into that.
But he's like, I'm
He's
proud.
a self-proclaimed.
Yeah.
No evidence.
I mean, you're just going to have to get back into it and claim your title. Yeah, so I will print it out, and I don't know if I'll have it in time for the charity stream, which, by the way, 2 weeks from today, there's a charity stream on my stream. Please come in. I may showcase, if it's done by then, the trophy, but I will ask for Ryan and Dreamer's real-life addresses so that I can dox them. I mean, send them the trophy after I prepare it. And so that'll be a lot of fun. So congrats to you. I don't have it now to present to you in any symbolic way, but it looks really nice. Crazy Penguin put a lot of time into it. And so you've got that to look forward to, which I hope you enjoy. So yeah.
Yeah, but probably, you know, judging from the way, how Samet always shows his DMs on the stream, probably better to like.
All right.
To be careful.
Right. Where's the image of the trophy so that I can show it on? Oh, here we go.
Not
Okay.
it's not the one from the thumbnail?
It's this one. Boom. Wait, hold on. Let me get.
No, the one from the thumbnail you can like only print on 2D printer.
Yeah. Here we go. There's the model. It looks. It's so over designed compared to what it was like before, but the colors are more, I don't know. We'll see what I decide to print it, or how I decide to paint it. But this is the idea. And so both of you will have one of these. One of them will have to say 2023 and the other will say 2021. Is that when we did the last match, or is that 2022?
2022 if this was the
No, it was 2021, but it ended in February 2022, I think.
Okay, so can we just make that 2022 and this one 2023 so that we have like the linear chronology?
Okay.
Oh, 2021? Okay.
I like how
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we had like a big
Whatever,
break.
we'll figure it out and you guys will get this trophy. You say perhaps it should have a supporting plate. We'll see what it's like when I print it out. I'll figure it out. You need to change the name to Dreamer? Yeah, it'll have your name on it, or your tag at least. Yeah. All right, well, do we have other closing remarks before we hop off here?
Trophy looks sick.
Hell yeah, dude.
Somebody get a thermometer. Yeah, sorry.
All right, and with that, I'm gonna thank you guys again for the amazing show. Really well played to Dreamer. Really well played to Ryan. And thank you so much to both my co-hosts, Lexi and Andre. You made it so entertaining, and it was great to have your company as always. I'll see everybody later. Say goodbye to stream, and we'll transition.
Bye.
Yeah, everyone.
Congrats once again, Ryan. Insert handshake emoji.
Insert handshake.
Oh, yeah,
emoji.
okay,
Thank
What
you.
amazing sportsmanship!
There is actually a soundboard. Wait.
There's a. Wow!
Wow.
Wow! The technology. Okay, fantastic.
Like such golf claps.
All right.